WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Scoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We're Sports Time, and we're with you for the next 3 hours. Grayson and Darian on the other side producing for us, and a great weekend of sports. A little bit of everything, all of the football, both college and the NFL, the basketball, the World Series baseball action. A lot to get into now. Today we have a sports equinox with every major sport in the U.S. going tonight. So a lot of action. Tigers, they have a big exhibition tonight against Alabama. So a ton to get into over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. And Brian, I am ready for it all. I'm ready to see how the Tigers and the Tide look tonight in Huntsville. Also downtown at FedEx Forum, the Grizzlies, 2-1 start. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm fine by it. Look forward to that against the Bulls. And then Monday Night Football and Game 3 of the World Series with incredible TV ratings for the World Series after Games 1 and 2. And I guess you should expect it. I really wasn't. I thought the story was going to be more of the negative of even with Dodgers and Yankees, you still get this and whatever the number is. But it's not. Through the roof Friday night and Saturday night. So I was wrong. They were right in waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they were. It seems like it's paid off, and that game Friday night was incredible. I mean, it's back and forth early, and then Yankees go up in the top of the 10th inning, and then bottom of the 10th, you get bases loaded. I guess you had a guy on second and third. You intentionally walk Mookie, and then here comes Freddie Freeman, and just electric. First grand slam in World Series history, and that place went absolutely bananas. At the same time that game was going on, the Lakers were playing at home, and I saw a video of they put it up on the on the jumbotron when it happened. All the Laker fans going crazy at Crypto.com arena. So that was a fun night, and then Game 2 was a lot of fun. So now Dodgers up 2-0 tonight. It goes back to New York, and we'll see if the Yankees can show some life here. About
14 million for Friday night, Saturday night TV viewers. For some context, the NBA Finals averaged around 11 to 12. Yeah. And also this on ratings. Markets with both Major League Baseball and the NBA. And I have been out here saying this for years. Number one's NFL. Number two's college football. 3 and 4 it's a debate. Sometimes give it as good as you get it in both. But for people that just think it's NBA, they're so wrong. Here are markets that they have both. Atlanta, the Braves locally, they average about 3.6 million per game. The Hawks, 0.59.
Oh, wow.
Boston, Red Sox, 5.2. Celtics, 2.6. In Chicago, the White Sox, a little under 1. The Cubs, 4-1. The Bulls, 1-3. Cleveland, 6-5 to 3-3. Cleveland baseball to Cleveland NBA. Dallas, Mavericks 1-2, Rangers 1-1. So there's one. Denver, Rockies 3, Nuggets 1-4.
Holy cow!
How about that?
That's crazy.
Detroit, Tigers 2-4, Pistons 1-4. Houston, Astros 4-8, Rockets 2-3. In Los Angeles, Angels 1.2, Dodgers 1.6. 1.7. Clippers 0.5. Lakers 2.3. Miami Marlins 0.8 to Heat 2.3.
Wow.
Expect.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise anybody.
And so forth, all the way through in every place that shares, baseball holds up great.
It's incredible.
And they have all those dates, too.
Sure.
Like the NBA has a lot of dates.
Absolutely.
Well, baseball has more.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. That's some good numbers. I think just if
And
you,
it's not the stereotype.
I was just about to say, if you're just if you go and ask somebody randomly, I think 10 times out of 10, you would get the other answer.
And I can offer up these numbers, and I think you could go up to a lot, and they would get in your face saying you're wrong.
Sure.
Here they are.
You just read them off.
And baseball needs to defend itself better.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. But, I don't think baseball does a very good job marketing much of anything. Certainly not.
But off to a good start with the World Series. It's not over either.
No. I mean, Yankees could very easily make this something tonight and in Game 4. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
So with that,
fan
on
base
Wednesday,
in New York. Okay.
You know what we do every week at 5:30 with the big kind of a big four type.
That's right.
On Wednesday,
Okay.
biggest four Dodgers, biggest four Yankees ever.
Whoa.
That's for Wednesday. It could be
All right.
pitchers,
I'm
it could
gonna
be
write that
catchers, it could be
Write that down
anything.
right now. Wednesday, Big 4. All right.
Big four Dodgers, big four Yankees.
Got to start working on that today. I mean, that's a lot.
I think number one Yankee lore is pretty safe.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty easy. But the rest, I think up for-
Mr. Ruth.
Yeah. I think he is flies away with it.
But it was a good week. How was the Tiger game?
It was good. We went out there and tailgated a little bit, and then saw the game and
Early tailgate.
Early tailgate. We did not have an extended tailgate, I can tell you that. But we did tailgate a little bit. But no, game was fun, and obviously Tigers get out there early and get up big, and then Charlotte makes a quarterback change, and thought Sean Purdy, the freshman, gave them a nice little spark, and next thing you knew, it was a tight game, and you need Seth Hennigan to do Seth Hennigan things and drive the Tigers down the field, and he did them. He got the record, 91 touchdown passes, and another win for him as a quarterback.
After he accomplished that, was there an announcement in the stadium?
Yes, there was. Yes.
Well received?
Well received.
Good.
Yes, very well received. So, no, it was a lot of fun, and, I thought, win. You get the win, and, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with 11 a.m. games, but the joy is you get out of there, you can get home for the 6:30 games. So that's nice.
Mine is horribly selfish. I will tell it up front. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very, very early riser.
That's right.
And I'm up rolling, and then it gives me the chance where I can watch football Saturday night. But I know most people, the hardworking, the great fans that – the reason why we have jobs in this, they hate it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, Brandon. They probably won't surprise you. It might surprise you. It probably won't, though. The only day I wake up early is on Saturday, so I can gamble before the 11 a.m. games start.
I love it.
So, that's the one day I get up early so I can get all my work done before games start.
No, I like early anything.
Yeah. So, no, but it was
I was sitting
fun.
there last night thinking, this time next week, when we're an hour earlier, when the clocks move forward.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I'm sorry, move back. Move back. Next Sunday, when we go to bed next Saturday night. I don't know how in the world I'm going to be able to stay up.
Well, yes. I didn't even know that was coming up, and then someone was talking
this
about
weekend.
it yesterday. I think it was at church, and they were talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, that's next week? So,
move back.
How about that?
Be 2:08 this time next Monday.
How about that? An extra hour of sleep. I love it.
Used to be my favorite night of the year to go out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, it's even better.
Because you were
it's
out.
like a nice little early Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like an hour
and you
more
get that
partying.
hour.
I mean, that's fantastic. How was Oxford this weekend?
It was
talked about
fun.
it on Friday. How many Sooner fans were down there?
It was so fun. They brought the energy, and it was fun. It always is to see people enjoying the Grove for the first time. And, you got to see it through all this conference realignment through the years. First time for Arkansas and South Carolina to come through. I think A&M before Saturday probably enjoyed it as much or more than anyone, because at that time for them, it was also a clean split liberation from Texas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're not as liberated anymore, but they really enjoyed that, and Mizzou as well. Sure. And through the years for me, and I've talked about it some here, and you always can see them. It's bucket listers. It will be 3 or 4 people in Oregon gear.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, and they always find us pregame, and you ask them, what are you doing? I said, on a bucket list to come to Ole Miss and see the Grove. I've had Oregon through the years, had Michigan through the years, Syracuse through the years, had Oklahoma before they were in the league. Bucket listers come through. and they always enjoy it more. But this weekend, even with how Oklahoma loves seeing it and kind of doing the square and being around and all these things do, I've never seen anybody enjoy it more than this weekend than the Illinois basketball team. They were there Saturday getting ready for the exhibition game early Sunday morning.
I love it.
And they were walking around agog, slack-jawed, this is
awesome.
Unbelievable.
That's awesome.
And I saw their coach, Brad Underwood, and I broke out my line. He said to me, he goes, "You get to do this every weekend." I went, "No, Coach, 7 times a year." I said, we're not doing this in June.
How about this? I was watching that exhibition game yesterday, and they show Brad Underwood. Holy cow, it's Orlando Antigua right beside him.
Sure
He's
is.
the associate head coach.
I saw him at they stayed where I stayed, right by the Grove, and they had a blast.
That's awesome.
I've never seen first-time Grove people enjoy it like the Illinois basketball team.
I'm glad they were out there. I'm glad they were enjoying it. But, Brad Underwood, maybe some, opposite recruiting there. I mean, you get those guys out there at the Grove, they might say, I kind of like this a lot.
Well, I jokingly said to him, I said, it's all fair in love and war now. He goes, "I'm not worried about Chris and I are good friends." I said, "Be careful." And Brad Underwood was telling me just what a very SEC schedule he's playing this year.
No, really. See, I haven't really looked at Illinois' schedule.
And you look at it.
Wow.
I mean, their non-conference is heavy SEC.
Yeah. Well, it was all Ole Miss yesterday in that exhibition, and Chris Beard's team looks really good. They can score the ball. They got some shooters out there.
He really loves this team.
Yeah, well,
every
can see
coach
why
does
yesterday.
this time of year.
Yeah.
But he really, really does.
Yeah. And also, I guess going back to Illinois' basketball team, you got to see Big Z's twin brother. Had no idea he had a twin brother. And yesterday, I'm going, that guy looks really familiar. Turns out it's his twin brother.
And Illinois, they're huge. You talking about the Dick Vitale all-airport team.
They got some size. They definitely do. So, wow, how about that? Illinois,
but for good or for bad, don't put too much into these games.
No, not at all.
Arkansas Sky High after what they did to KU,
Absolutely.
But remember, they did that to Purdue last
year.
Sure did.
Well,
they got Duke regular season last year, too, when it counted.
Yeah.
But everybody, tonight, either way, win by 20, lose by 20. Don't take too much out of that.
Too high, not too low on an exhibition like this. But it will be fun tonight for the for Tigers. Penny Hardaway has talked.
Bama's got some guys out.
They do. And, I think a couple guys that missed their first exhibition as well. I know Grant Nelson missed that first exhibition against Wake Forest. But, Penny Hardaway has said it, I believe, several times. I know at least once that they didn't want to show too much against North Carolina because there's a chance they could see them in Maui. But for Alabama and being a week out from the regular season, he says it's going to be a lot more of their offense, a lot more of their defense in there. So hopefully we'll get a better look at what this Tigers team will look like.
Like with everything, there are a lot I like about these games. I like the charity aspect.
Absolutely.
And what did a week or so ago for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital here and what can be done in the future. One thing I don't like about it at the end of that Ole Miss game yesterday was our buddy Mark Wise talking about, this is good. Nobody won, nobody lost. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like that aspect about sports. I think it should matter. But anyway, another thing I do like about it, though, like against North Carolina and what a win tonight against Bama would do for ticket sales and energy for the Tiger program.
Absolutely.
And Chris Beard and Ole Miss got it yesterday.
They sure did. It was a good atmosphere down there before the game even started. But yeah, you come out of that and you say, wow, a big.
That beats the heck out of beating athletes in action.
Absolutely, a big time win over Illinois. A lot of people are going to look at that and go, okay. I mean, Arkansas. You go out there and you beat Kansas. It might mean something. It might not mean something, but there's going to be a buzz. I'm sure when we talk on Friday with Ty Richardson, he's going to say there's a much bigger buzz right now after that win against Kansas than even there was before.
But I can't stand. Nobody wins, nobody lost.
Right.
I can't stand that.
No, that is not the right way.
It's why when I was a little kid, went to see the Globetrotters at the Coliseum, and that was Meadowlark Lemon and Geese Osby. I mean, the Globetrotters, loved it. Glad I got to go, but I knew it was mostly an act. It was not competition.
Right.
And count me out. I want it mattering.
Telling me these guys win every time? Doesn't seem right. But
every time, but about 10 all time.
Yes, I guess so.
Wouldn't that be something if you were one of the people who went to the game when the Globetrotters lost?
crazy.
I mean, that would almost ruin your childhood, wouldn't it?
I want my money back.
Yeah.
What do
You don't even
mean
want to
they
see the
lost?
tricks anymore.
No.
I'm just not much for. Nobody lost. No, everybody won. I'm not much for that.
No. But it will be interesting tonight. Memphis versus Alabama, their final charity exhibition before the regular season starts. A week from today, we'll have ball in the air. We'll actually have a couple games going on at this time
all
next
day
week,
ball,
and a couple finals. So it's going to be a lot of fun next Monday. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Jonah Dillon, Tiger football beat reporter for the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us to talk about Tigers versus Charlotte. Tigers got the win over Charlotte on Saturday, and now we'll look ahead to this weekend against UTSA. We'll do all of that with Jonah Dillon in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk some Grizzlies basketball. The Grizzlies, they lost Friday night against the Houston Rockets, but bounced back Saturday night, the home opener against the Orlando Magic with a big-time win. So we'll talk about what we saw in both of those games. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us to talk college football and college basketball. We'll get his thoughts on this weekend in college football. We'll get a couple thoughts from him for college basketball, talk about what he wants to see from the Tigers tonight in their exhibition against Alabama. 4:30, we'll get to our Sissy's Log Cabin, look back at the weekend in the SEC. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk a whole lot of Grizzlies. It's 2-1 through 3 games, and they'll go tonight at home against the Chicago Bulls. 7 p.m. tip for that one. 5:30, we'll get to our Monday Night Football pick and preview, and also the best 4 defensive players combined for these two teams. And that's tough. I mean, you look at
tough.
Steelers and Giants, those defenses in the history.
Outside looking in, anybody got Justin Tuck?
Hey, we will wait until we get
OCU
to
Manura?
those lists. It was a tough list. Trying to limit this down to only 4 guys was really, really difficult. We'll get to that at 5:30. Then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get over there for the world's biggest spa sale going on right now at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spas starting at $28.99. Cold plunges at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools and patio furniture. It's priced to move. So head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Cast of thousands today, isn't it? We're all here, all together. Grayson, Darian, Bryant, Brett, we're Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock, right up really to the Grizzlies start at 7 downtown at FedEx Forum. The Tigers get going tonight. We're with you until 6, and we want you to be a big part of our show with all your feedback at our Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line at 901-360-8255. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. We're always in our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour always brought to you, title sponsored by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all the remaining 24s and all the 2025s that are taking over, and always special leasing options at Lexus of Memphis. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the Grizzlies with what they've done through the first 3 games of the season. One loss on the road to Houston against the Rockets. That was Friday night. But the other 2 games, wins. We talked a lot about the Jazz win earlier this season, the first game of the year. But Saturday night was a ton of fun. I know we'll talk about it more in our next segment, at the end of this hour when we talk a lot more Grizzlies. But I was not there. I was watching it on television. It looked great. It sounded great. And everything I've heard from people that were in attendance at that game was that, this was 100% a sellout. This wasn't we're calling it a sellout, but there's empty seats places. This was every seat filled, rocking from start to finish, and you love to see that. That just shows the energy and the excitement that people have with this team. After everything that happened last year, people are ready for it to be back to what it was a couple years ago, with Ja flying around in the air, knocking down shots, taking over at the end of the game. It was the first time we've seen those three, Ja, Desmond, and Jaren, in a really, really long time. And so to see all three of those guys back out there was a ton of fun. So now a quick turnaround from Saturday night, back at home tonight against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have struggled, but they do have a road win over the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think they're going to be out there definitely fighting. This ain't going to be a game that you can just say, oh, they'll easily beat the Bulls and move on to the next one. But I do love the way the Grizzlies have been playing through these first three games, and a lot of games this week for them. I mean, it's Bulls tonight, and then you turn around and, Nets, Bucks on the road against the 76ers. So, some interesting games, and, we'll see at the end of this week, how they're looking, because I think they could be looking really pretty.
My top story, no big upsets the last 2 to 3 weeks in college football. A lot of good games. Yep. Some near upsets. Vanderbilt almost pulled it off against Texas, but the polls are really starting to cement before the first release next week of the college football playoffs. 2/3 of the season over. Only November left to play in the regular season, and I think it's the best college football season ever because nobody can tell you how it's going to end or even who will be in the finals or the semifinals. Heck, the bracket itself. The 12 teams that will be in, I'm not real sure right now. I think Oregon and Ohio State will definitely be in there, but Ohio State rather, they had a near miss Saturday. They really escaped Saturday against Nebraska. Georgia, yeah, probably so. I think Oregon's the best team right now, but we thought Texas was that a few weeks ago. Now we're looking a little harder, a little differently at Texas. How many from the SEC? Only looks like Georgia is a certainty, and maybe Texas and maybe A&M. How many teams from the SEC can you say they can win at all this year?
Ooh, not many.
Not many.
Not many at all. That's a really good point.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be Tigers for both football and basketball. I mean, when you look at what the football team did on Saturday against Charlotte, got scary there late. They go up big, and but then here comes Charlotte. I was telling a lot of people that I knew at the game, I'd love to see Charlotte turn to this freshman. Let this Deshaun Purdy kid get out there and get loose. And so, yes, blame me. It was my fault. I was a little excited when he went into the game, and he looked pretty good. I was impressed with the true freshman and what he showed. But ultimately, it was the Tigers. It was this offense that you hear a lot of people talk about. They're not as explosive as they have been in the past. How good is this offense? But
7-1, right?
That's exactly right. And then that last minute, I think they showed how good they are. Seth Hennigan, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception in that game. Mario Anderson, 141 yards on the ground. Rock Taylor, 1 yard shy of a 100-yard game. He had the game-winning touchdown. Demir Blankenship scored another one earlier in the game. So a win for the Tigers, and now they'll move on 7-1, 3-1 in conference play this weekend on the road against UTSA, another 11 a.m. game on the road before they return back home to a head coachless Rice team that they made a change over the weekend at the head coach position. That'll be a Friday night game against Rice. So Tigers still looking good. They're back in the coaches poll at number 25. They're only 2 spots out of the AP poll at 26. And then got to talk about the Tiger basketball team because tonight, final exhibition game against Alabama. We'll see, I think, a better idea what this team will look like. Penny Hardaway has stressed that they did not show much in that first exhibition against North Carolina. You'll see more of that. Probably see, a better idea of what the rotations will look like, what the lineups will look like. To see here a week from now when you face Missouri, what you'll see in that season opener.
With the changes the last 2 weeks in the AAC, last week Mike Houston at East Carolina out. Yeah. Yesterday Mike Bloomgreen out at Rice. For years of service, number one in seniority is Ryan Silverfield. Yeah. hired in 2019. But I guess you would list him second to Jeff Monken.
I guess
Monken's
so,
been there since
sure.
13. They're in the league. So Ryan Silverfield's either first or second in seniority. Penny Hardaway's first in basketball. So that's where the Tigers coaching, that's stability.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to be proud of. Not top story for me, the best Sunday of the year in the NFL, all the close games, 7 points or less, 5 points or less. It felt like every game down to the last second in so many of these games. Jets are done. Someone let Greeny in and get up where they can quit whining and moaning about it and move on to something else. The Browns upset Lamar. Washington, Hail Mary and hail to old D.C. And, Kansas City. They just keep on winning.
Yeah, no, they keep on doing what they do. Another one for them, they're still undefeated. Hard to believe. But, hey, that's how good that team is. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we'll talk some Tiger football with Jonah Dillon.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
You know our trusted partner TireRack.com for their fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and their great selection of best tires, like the highly consumer-rated Hankook Dynapro AT2 Extreme. But did you know they sell other automotive products? Wheels, brakes, suspension, just to name a few. Go to TireRack.com/Colin. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stacks Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And it's a Monday, so that means we've got to talk Tiger football. And joining us to do that, Jonah Dillon, Tiger football beat reporter over at the Commercial Appeal. Jonah, thanks so much for joining us. Another win for the Tigers, this one at home over Charlotte. It came down to the very end. Charlotte drives down, scores to take the lead. Memphis gets the ball with a little more than a minute left in the game. They drive down and get a game-winning touchdown, a pass from Seth Hennigan to Rock Taylor. What were your takeaways from this win for the Tigers over Charlotte?
Yeah, it was another crazy game, 2 in a row, which is feels a little bit refreshing after the past ones before that when it was not a lot of exciting stuff going on. This looks more like it did last season. Now, obviously, Ryan has talked about it a couple times. He'd prefer to win in a more straightforward fashion. But it was really interesting, like, when Memphis gets the ball back for that last-minute drive, like, you're looking at the clock and like the situation, you're thinking, like, this is it. Like, the entire season basically comes down to the next minute and 20 or less, obviously, as it ended up being. And they had no problems going down the field and scoring. And I don't know, just the way that all came together of your two best players, right, on offense, Seth Hennigan and Rock Taylor, who haven't been on the same page a lot this season so far. And Rock Taylor even had a big drop earlier in that game. They come up with the play, and then for more poetic justice, Seth Hennigan breaks the all-time Memphis passing touchdown record. That's his 91st touchdown pass. And like I wrote about after the game, maybe it's most important.
Did you find the players and Ryan and the coaching staff, did you find them pleased or ecstatic with the win?
I think pleased. I think there were a lot of problems, right? Like you go back through it, and yeah, it was an amazing play and a huge moment, obviously, like we just talked about. At the same time, this was a game that Memphis came in as, I think, 18-point favorites. And to be honest, Charlotte, if they had started Deshaun Purdy in the first half, I'm not sure that they wouldn't have won this game because when he came in, he was dynamic for them, especially on those past couple drives. And Memphis had a lot of problems defending Charlotte's offense with him at quarterback. He didn't play in the first half, and Max Brown played instead and just didn't play well. So I think that there's a lot to clean up, just like there was last week against North Texas. Obviously, like I said, if that drive hadn't gone well, we're sitting here having a conversation about how the season is over and where it went wrong. And so they came up, and that's what you need. You need your seniors who have been in this program for a long time, who are some of the best players, certainly with Seth Hennigan, to ever play for this team, to come up with big plays, and they did that. But at the same time, everything that happened before that, you can't forget that, and you have to understand that there's a lot for them to clean up going to the next 4 games.
Makari Bodiford, the freshman running back, looked really good. 73 yards on 7 carries. He had a touchdown run. What has impressed you about him, and what has Ryan Silverfield and some of the other guys on this team said about the freshman?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive because he's somebody who came in and was probably the 5th or 6th string running back at the beginning of the season. And I think in an ideal world would have never seen the field the entire season, maybe a couple snaps like he got in the first game to kind of give him a chance. But definitely the plan was, and maybe still is, to redshirt him because he hasn't played in 4 games yet. But then you look at what's happened to the running back room, and Mario Anderson was basically the only healthy running back available on Saturday from the get-go. Jacoby Banks kind of been playing running back as a converted wide receiver. But they end up in a situation once Mario Anderson went out with an injury, and Ryan Silverfield said today that it was cramps and that he was okay. Once he went out, you're like looking at it's one of those, you look at the bench and you look at what numbers are still available, and Makari Bodiford is standing there in pads ready to go, and there's nobody else standing there in pads ready to go. And so he goes into the game and was just incredibly impressive. It was one drive. He rushed for 73 yards in that touchdown. And he looked amazing, right? It was almost then Mario Anderson came back, and I think a lot of fans are probably sitting there thinking, wait a second, I want to see that Bodiford kid again. And I still think if you're the Memphis coaching staff, ideal world, again, he's not going to have to play this season. He's a true freshman. True freshmen don't often play. And then obviously, though, he's a true freshman who's playing, and the last running back who played as a true freshman was Sutton Smith, and they went to the same high school in Georgia. So
that's right.
How about that? That's what Seth Hennigan said after the game. I guess that they must have a good running back coach at that high school. I guess he's right.
Jonah, in your interaction with your Raiders and on social media and around town and wherever you go and mix and mingle with Tiger fans, do you sense there might be some that are just waiting to pounce whenever the next loss occurs to, I told you so, I knew they were overrated, this isn't getting it done, and kind of all that line of disagreement from last year coming back?
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're even waiting to pounce because you can just look at it during the game. They're already saying that people should be fired. Every single coach I've seen, at least all the coordinators and Ryan Silverfield, people have called for them to be fired. They were calling for Seth Hennigan to be benched multiple times during the game on Saturday, and they have all season. So I think there's obviously going to be discontent. At the same time, there's part of it that, like, look, this is not a team we talked about it. Charlotte came in as 18-point underdog. Charlotte got blown out really badly by Navy the week before. That game was never competitive. And it makes sense. You look at like what Tulane did against North Texas, a team that Memphis obviously was life or death with for a long time. These, people are expecting that they're going to have these games where Memphis is going to come and blow these teams out, especially with an offensive performance. We haven't really seen Memphis come out and just offensively dominate a game. And I think that's what people are waiting for, especially when you look at the level of competition. You look at the fact that they've played, I think, still two teams that have a winning record this entire season, right, in Navy and North Texas. And in both those games struggled defensively. So I think that there are some very obviously real concerns that people have. At the same time, with the situation we've talked about every week, if they lose another game, then the season is over. And so I think if that does happen, then it's going to very quickly become a different conversation where people are very unhappy about what's transpired throughout this season.
And, Jonah, I know you know this, but I look at the Memphis comparison to North Texas, and I look at the North Texas comparison to Tulane, and I see 2 8-point wins for both Memphis and for Tulane. I know Tulane's win was on the road. Memphis's win was at home, but I don't know that that's one that people can point to and say, see there, I told you so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think because Tulane was up and because what they kind of jumped out to an early lead, obviously, and put up a lot of points. I think that we've talked about it all season, even before the season. Like, I think people were sleeping on Tulane before the season, and just because, they lost their coach and they lost their quarterback, like, that's a really good football team. And I think it's fair to say that we'll see what happens when we get to Thanksgiving. But if they played right now, I think Tulane would be favored to win, especially with the game being in New Orleans. And now you've got, obviously, look, we got another one with a weird schedule quirk because Tulane is going to play at Charlotte this week, so we can compare that one. Obviously, the transitive property stuff, you can't really read too much into that. I just think, Tulane, obviously, look at the points they put up on South Florida. They've done a lot of really impressive things this season, but I just think that, and look, it goes back to a couple weeks ago, we're talking about Memphis winning against South Florida and the game not being super exciting because of the offensive performance. But the reality is that game was never really competitive, right? It never really seemed like Memphis was in trouble. And I think that we should probably give them more credit for a win like that, especially in the context of the past couple weeks.
Yeah. We were talking running backs earlier, and I guess this is a good time to do our weekly check-in on the health of the running backs. Did Ryan Silverfield say anything about Greg Duosier, Brandon Thomas, and maybe their availability for this weekend or moving forward?
Yeah, it's not a lot of information today in the press conference. Obviously, Greg Duosier went through warm-ups. He was in pads going through warm-ups before the game on Saturday, so it obviously looked like he was going to play, and then he came back out without his pads on and in sweatpants when the game was starting. So it seems like he's close, obviously, and I think it's fair to hope that he's going to be available for Saturday's game. Brandon Thomas, we saw that he got injured a couple weeks ago, and then it looked like he was close to playing because I think he was in pads on the sideline, but obviously never went into the game. I think they'd like to get him back. Obviously, they'd like to get people at 100%, and I think that especially in the goal line, which is kind of, if you go back to the beginning of the season when everybody was healthy, that's the role that they envisioned him having. I think they'd still like to get back to that, especially with some of the things that have happened around the goal line. Obviously, there was a fourth down play. Mario Anderson gets 2 yards instead of 3. And again, Mario Anderson, 32 carries. It's the Herculean effort, right, to carry the ball that many times, especially with the type of running back he is, because he's one of those running backs where it seems like every carry he's hitting at least 5 different guys, right? And so he's a very physical player, and he runs violently, and that means he takes a lot of hits. And so I don't think that anybody's plan or hope is that he's going to carry the ball 32 times every game, right? And so even just getting Brandon Thomas some of those carries, around the goal line, probably those are going to be really physical plays. And I think it looks like he's closer to coming back. It's possible that both those guys could be back on Saturday, and it's possible that neither of them could, and then maybe we'll be talking about Makari Bodiford again next week.
We're going to do grades for the Tigers and for the SEC on Wednesday. We did it after September. We're going to do it after October. We don't allow pluses and minuses. We will allow you that, Jonah. We will allow you that. Wow. What would you give this Tiger football team a grade through October play? 7-1.
Interesting. I think I'm somewhere around a B, right? Because they lose that game and they've lost control of their own destiny, right? So you can't say an A because an A would be an undefeated record, I think. Obviously, it's relative to every program that is out there, the expectations and things like that. And I was thinking about it today, like if that drive against Navy with Seth Hennigan and offense get the ball back and they're moving down the field and it looks like they're going to go score and pull off what would have been a remarkable comeback. If they come through and they score a touchdown there and then they get a stop and they win that game, we're talking about a team that's probably ranked in the top 15 right now.
Oh, yeah.
And is clearly far and away would be the favorite
national
to
story.
go to the college football playoff. Yeah. And those are the margins at the same time, like we just talked about. If he doesn't make that play on Saturday, that throw to Rock Taylor, and that throw is intercepted or something, we're sitting here talking about how the season is over, and we could go back to those two plays and look at it all there. And so ultimately, it could be an A if he doesn't make that throw against Navy, which is it's crazy that those are the margins that we're talking about, especially with where the playoff is now and how important every game is. But yeah, I feel pretty confident. I think a B is a fair grade.
I like it. Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, I think it's very accurate.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do a plus or a minus.
How about that?
There you go.
Even better.
And we would have allowed it for you.
Very rarely do we allow the pluses or minuses. So, Jonah, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jonah.
Jonah Dillon joining us to talk some Tigers, and how about that? A B.
And he mentioned the margins, how narrow it is across the sport. Mm-hmm. Across college football, SEC, all of them, it's like the NFL. These come down to one-score games.
Oh, yeah.
And you have that window of opportunity, and if you miss it, you probably lose. And how the whole dynamic would be changed around here if Seth lays it down and scores late at Navy.
Yeah.
And we saw Navy get trucked, and the Notre Dame defense really put it on them.
Oh, no, they absolutely did. But, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, you look at one of my favorite nuggets of the season so far is Vanderbilt. 3 losses on the season now. Total combined 10 points. I mean, they have only lost by 10 points total.
Tell me about it.
In 3 games.
Ole Miss got 2 with 6.
That's a great point. So it's just so narrow.
One, the worst home conference loss in Ole Miss football history to Kentucky, and a giveaway at LSU.
Exactly. So I mean, it really is.
It's how narrow it is.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's a good point.
All right, with that though, shouldn't we? When you're on the right side of the margins of the narrowness, shouldn't you enjoy it more than it feels like Memphis and Ole Miss fans are enjoying it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. You should, but I think you have to realize that first that, hey, everywhere it's narrow. All these games are coming down to, close calls. And I just don't think, I speak for myself. I don't think even I realized that kind of in the moment of some of these games.
So the summertime hype train was going hard, like in the Dr. Pepper ad.
That's exactly right.
The brake gets pulled, but you're still having wins.
Exactly. Yes. And I think it's probably a surprise to I actually believe this, that there were a lot of people yesterday when the polls came out, when the coaches poll came out, and when the AP poll came out, and Memphis was in one of them, and 2 spots away from being in the AP poll, and you look at who voted, a lot of people had Memphis in. I think there were a lot of people surprised about that. Wait a minute, this team that everyone's talking about, how bad they've been playing, they're right there. I mean, it's been that narrow, and you still have so much to play for if you're the Tigers.
Tigers lose in the month of November max twice.
Max, yeah, I think.
So 9-3 and a chance to go to a bowl game and have back-to-back double-digit win seasons.
If they lose more than twice max, my grade on Wednesday is going to be very different in
November.
Yes, at the end of November.
Start working on these grades. A lot to do on Wednesday.
Oh, man, we got a ton to do.
Dodgers Big Four, Yankees Big Four, grades for Tigers and SEC.
Right.
And with everything going on right now, a lot of get-togethers, a lot of Halloween get-togethers this week, a lot of festivals, and a lot of fun. And start the planning for your food at Jason's Deli, bringing more to the table. It's a family thing at Jason's Deli with a variety of delicious choices for all 3 meals. Breakfast, lunch, all-day meals for groups of 5 or 5,000. For your big event this week and then into the holiday season with a lot of family and friends by, you're going to need plenty of great food, and they have it. Same day, last minute, orders welcome. That's when they really excel. When you feel like you can't get it done, you're overwhelmed, step aside, let them step in, and they take care of it. Whether it's dining in, to go, or being delivered wholesome food forever, it's a family thing. And start with, like I talked about on Friday, going to the Grove, and I did with the Beef Eater slider tray or the Deli Slider tailgate package, the fresh fruit tray, the fresh fruit and cheese tray. They've got all that. And then at all these locations on Ridgeway Road, over across from MUS, by the U of M, at Poplar and Highland, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova, you can enjoy the locations and order off the menu, like the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, my favorite, the taco salad, and it is chili season. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, you will be delighted at Jason's Deli. And it's always complimentary free ice cream time at all these locations, and it's always that great salad bar in every location with over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you would like. Again, catering anytime, anywhere for all the fun events we're really going to have the rest of this year. It is eating season and being together season, and Jason's Deli they want to be a big part of it. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Let's get to a break, and when we come back, we got to talk the Grizzlies and some big news for the Grizzlies coming out about 10 minutes ago. So we'll get to all of that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
I've got him on the line, Jason, the main man marshal at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Hey, give me the lowdown, Jason.
Here's what's really low down. Interest rates. All 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan's now 0% for 60 months.
0% for 60 months available on every 2024 Tiguan. That's awesome. What else you got?
Randy, all peak condition Atlas is now $5,000 off MSRP.
A whopping $5,000 off MSRP on all peak edition Atlases. Hey, what else you got?
Right now, take your pick for 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE. $289 a month.
Taos SE or Jetta SE, $289 a month. Wow, Jason, the main man marshal, you got it going on.
And remember, at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, no reasonable offer will be refused.
That's Gossett Volkswagen 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettDWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years. of Cashew Crunch, of Heavenly Hash, of Turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I buy houses.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studio. And we got to talk some Grizzlies because they play tonight. That's the one thing. But about 20 minutes ago, it was announced Shams Charania, who now with ESPN, still weird to say, but Shams Charania reporting, this is the tweet from him, the Memphis Grizzlies are converting two-way center Jay Huff on a new 4-year standard NBA contract. Agent Michael Siegel told me and Bobby Marks 42. The 7-footer has had a strong start to the season, averaging 13 points, 3.3 rebounds in 19 minutes while shooting 57.1% from 3. So he has looked really, really good so far through these 3 games. And this is a guy, anybody that's talked about him, it's been, well, they have 50 games until he has to be, forced back to the G League. So they have plenty of time to decide what they want to do with him. But the front office getting out there and making this decision early that they want Huff. No reason to have him on a 2-way. Let's just put him on a standard contract.
The story of the early year, Mr. Wonderful, Jay Huff.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. I actually saw this. Let me see if I can pull it up on Twitter. I saw it during the break. So Sean Coleman, who covers the Grizzlies, he tweeted this out right after the signing occurred, and I think this is crazy. For the next 3 years, the Grizzlies have Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams Jr., Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jay Huff, and Zach Edey signed to contracts that combine, all 6 of them, to be under $18 million per year. 6 potential rotation players who per year combined will make less than Marcus Smart makes this season.
That's how you do it.
It's incredible.
That team control, especially for the satellite guys. We've had good stories out of South Haven, out of the hustle. Is he the best?
I would say probably just because this is a guy that bounced around and then kind of landed in your hands. And even when he signed with the Grizzlies, I don't think anybody thought, Jay Huff is going to be a guy that gets a standard contract very early. I think the other guys you talk about, kind of the same story. Obviously, with Gigi, a lot of excitement on draft night when they drafted him. Hey, this could be something that in a couple of years you could see. I think Vince, very early, people thought, maybe down the road you could see something just because of what he brought as a scorer. I would say maybe Scottie Pippen Jr. is kind of in that same boat. Another guy that bounced around, was with the Lakers. Lakers never used him. He comes over to Memphis, and it's just the right opportunity at the right time. But, all 4 of those guys that I just listed off, unbelievable that all 4 of those guys,
great stories.
They're down there in the G League, and then just get the right opportunity, and they make the most of it.
Tonight against the Bulls, Wednesday against Brooklyn, Thursday against Milwaukee, all at home, all at FedEx Forum, all downtown. This can be a good week.
Yeah, no, it could be a really good week. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, you look at this game tonight, Chicago, you have won one game. Now, that one game they won was a road game against the Bucks. So, I do think this is a somewhat feisty team that you're going to play. But after this, you get Brooklyn. Cam Thomas could go out for 40 and you could still win by 20. That's just kind of how this team's going to be this year. You got the Bucks, who I just mentioned. They lost to the Bulls at home. They're really struggling. It seems like Giannis... But doesn't it feel like every year, especially early in the season, we get the disgruntled Giannis? It just feels like that's kind of a trend that's been happening.
Okay with it. Is it too early for anybody to be on a struggle bus?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Let Milwaukee, where are they tonight?
That's a good question.
Let them lose before they get here Thursday and lose Thursday.
Oh, man.
You're struggle bus.
Yeah, no, you absolutely are. And let's see.
Tonight in Boston.
Oh, man. Yeah, that won't be easy.
No.
That won't be easy at all. So you get the Bucks, and then, on the road against the 76ers, which, 76ers have, some injury concerns. They're 1-2 right now. So, you definitely could get through these 4 games and look really, really good.
And a good start out of the gate.
And that was important. I mean, you had that win against the Jazz and kind of came down to the end. You had the loss against the Rockets. And I think that loss against the Rockets, and I think we kind of talked about it that earlier that day of, hey, this is a Rockets team that should have won their first game of the season at home against Charlotte. Now they're coming back out at home. They're going to be doing everything they can to get that first win under the belt. And sure enough, that's what happened. And so I think a lot of people were a little worried about, okay, what does this mean for Saturday night? Now you return home, a back-to-back. You're playing that team that it feels like everybody's high on this year with Orlando and a good young team. This might not be great. And they go out there and they dominate.
Friday wasn't a great look. It's what it made Saturday even more special against the look-out for team that's really the sexy look-out for team. Everybody's got Orlando on that.
Exactly, 100%. So I definitely think it's been super, super positive through the first 3 games for the Grizzlies, and definitely big news. Now, we knew they had that 15th spot open. Now it looks like they're going to fill that very quickly with Jay Huff, and I think that speaks big things about what they want him to do because, like we said, had 50 games to work with, but instead of waiting and kind of making sure this is the right guy, they said, no, we know we can use him and sign him very quickly. So we'll see what they do tonight against the Chicago Bulls. And later here in about an hour, a little more than an hour, we'll talk to DeMichael Cole about this Grizzlies team and the start of the season. But let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we're talking some college football and college basketball with David Cobb.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football.
This is Lauren Choate Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Right now, we're offering our Choate's Comfort and Safety Special. For a limited time, when you purchase a $99 tune-up, or if Choate's performs a repair, you'll receive a free 1-year standard fan plan membership at $400 value. Keep your home safe, comfortable, and running smoothly all year long with 2 maintenance visits, priority service, and discounts on future repairs. And for our existing loyal fan plan members, we have something special just for you. Enjoy a $1,000 loyalty coupon toward any new generator, tankless water heater, or HVAC system. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us with your home. Add value, add comfort, and add safety to your home with Choates. Call us today at 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge the year in style during the Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with 420 total range or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now $349 a month. That's Outlander PHEV or Outlander Sport. Your choice, $349 a month. And get ready to slip into something more comfortable with your 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. Only $31,700 or $499 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750 Sport, RUO 18037, MSRP 28115, Outlander RZO 67690, MSRP 332. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Afternoon, the police are working with a couple of wrecks out here. It has picked up just a bit on 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Yes, the 55 bridge opened back up today, earlier this morning. That's going to help rush hour traffic where it was closed over the weekend. Weiber's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full service, family owned jewelry store. Go by and see them this week here in Memphis out there on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour on this Monday afternoon every single week. We got to recap the weekend of college football, and now got to start talking some college basketball, and nobody better to do it with than David Cobb. So let's go ahead and get into it with David Cobb.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
Hey, David. Thanks for joining us. A lot to get to this afternoon, but I do want to start off here locally with the Tigers and talk about this football team, because I have noticed, and I noticed it earlier today when I got into work, one of the producers for the morning show said, the phone lines, the text lines have been very split on the Tigers football team this morning after their win over Charlotte. 7-1. Now that game did come down. You have Charlotte score in the last 2 minutes, and then Memphis needs a big drive. Seth Hennigan is able to do it and secure the win for Memphis. As a somewhat outsider looking into the Memphis football program that you are, what do you think about this Tiger team? 7-1. They had that one loss to Navy. How do you view the Tigers right now?
Okay, well, as a native Memphian, as somebody who lived through the late 90s and the early 2000s in the city and has followed it closely and lived there on and off again in the years since and all that, right? Like, I followed Memphis football my whole life. And there's never been a time or a world or a scenario in which anybody ever would have been upset about 7-1. So from that standpoint, I think it is difficult to be like, if you just zoom out and look at the 30-year trajectory of the program, you have to feel like 7-1 is success. It is. It absolutely is. But when you drill down a little bit deeper and you really look at the quality of play that we're seeing from Memphis against the lack of quality of the opposition, I think that's where it's a little bit alarming that you're not smoking Charlotte, that you have to have a late rally to beat Charlotte, that you're not just wiping Middle Tennessee off the map, that you're, even North Texas, which is a decent team, but not a great team by any stretch. You're struggling to put them away too. So I guess it's just the fact is, they're just not looking the part. They're not looking the part of a playoff team. They're not looking the part of a conference championship team. But at the end of the day, they're 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all still there for them, especially like we saw what happened to Navy against Notre Dame. Navy is not that great. And then it's just if there's any way that you can wiggle your way into the AAC championship game and win that thing, then it's like, oh man, this was an all-time great season. And that's still on the table. It's just, I get it. Right now it doesn't look great, but think about 7-1 in the context of history and tell me that's not success.
I know it's one game, one win less and one loss more, but in that same context, David, couldn't that apply for grousing, kind of moaning, and a little bit droopy Ole Miss fans?
For sure. I think in both cases, where the disappointment comes in is that this was supposed to be the year.
The P word, playoffs.
At Memphis and at Ole Miss, because you've got these veteran quarterbacks, these well-established head coaches. You're coming off momentum from strong finishes to last season. The playoff has expanded. There's all these factors that are working together. You're getting great transfers on both sides of the ball at Memphis and at Ole Miss. And so, when you get to the end of October and it hasn't gone exactly like you'd hoped, it's reasonable to be disappointed. But then let's also remember, there's still a month of football left to be played, and that month could change everything. So I don't rule Ole Miss out completely yet, and I don't rule Memphis out completely yet as it regards to the AAC title. It hasn't been perfect at this point, but look around the country. There's so few teams. Oregon is the only team right now where I think the fan, and Texas A&M, just because of what happened on Saturday. I mean, those two are the only fan bases who are throwing parties right now on their message boards. I mean, almost everybody else around the country feels like they're not.
A little bit grousy. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so I don't know. It's a weird type of season in that way where even teams with great records don't feel like they're great teams, which is weird.
Miami's pleased, aren't they?
I mean, yes, they're they've been fortunate now a few times, but you got to be at 8-0. If you're Miami, Penn State should be pleased, but I think there's still some disappointment as the offense is not more explosive for Penn State. So I mean, there's some teams there's some fan bases that are okay with their team's performances, but I mean, outside of Oregon, outside of A&M. Maybe Miami. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of teams out there that feel like they still haven't hit their top tier.
Mm-hmm. David, Colorado is bowl eligible now after their win over the weekend. How impressed are you with this Colorado team, a 34-23 win over Cincinnati? How impressed are you with the job that Dion has done this year? I know there were a lot of people that thought they could get to 6 wins, but I don't think many people thought they would be 6-2 at this point in the season. So how impressed have you been with that? And, I know there's probably a conversation for after the season. Let's enjoy this while we have it. But what does Colorado look like after those 2 stars are gone after this season?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's the next question. But as it pertains to the beginning of Deion Sanders' tenure at Colorado, he's done it. I hand up, man. I was as big of a skeptic, as big of a doubter as anybody. Didn't think you could completely flip a roster via the portal and have it pay off this quickly. The strides were there early last year, but the way last year ended really made me doubt and wonder whether or not the program would have the strength and the grit and sort of the glue, in the trenches and all that sort of stuff, to reach this point. But here they are at the end of October, 6-2. They look good too. They look better defensively. Their offensive line is not great, but it's good enough. And I'll be honest, I've come around on Shedeur Sanders. Obviously Travis Hunter is incredible, but the one who I had more questions about, I guess, was Shedeur. And I think he's one of the best, absolute best quarterback prospects in this class. Like, his arm strength isn't elite, and he's not incredibly fleet of foot. He's not super fast, but, like, he makes the right read. He's an accurate passer, and it really looks like his receivers like playing with him. And so it's super impressive. Deion Sanders has done it again, man. Like, he's turned Colorado from a one-win team into a really solid Big 12 team, and he's done that in 2 years. So I think you got to give him this credit for that.
How many from the Big 12 in the playoffs?
In the college football playoff? So here, to me, it's probably still going to be one. Where it could get interesting, though, is if you get an undefeated team in the conference championship game, and that undefeated team loses in the conference championship game, be that Iowa State or BYU. I think in that case, the loser would still get in. So it's either one or two. And I guess it could be BYU and Iowa State meeting in the championship game, in which case I think both would already be in if they were both undefeated at that point. But yeah, there's a good chance. Yeah, it should. I don't see any two-loss at-large teams getting in from the Big 12. I'll say that. So it's either going to be one or two.
David, I'll fight for the SEC when I think it is warranted, but when it's not, I want the best in there. If the best are all represented by the Horizon League and the Gulf Coast League, I don't even know if that's a league, but wherever it comes from, I want the best in there. And I don't think this year, unless this month plays out in a wild fashion, I don't think this year the SEC. On this date, they're not deserving. For a week before the first release, I don't think it's deserving of 4. Maybe not even 3.
It's crazy, isn't it, how cloudy the picture is right now in the SEC? I think that the SEC picture is as murky and cloudy and uncertain as any of the power conferences, because with the Big 12, it feels like Iowa State and BYU have kind of separated themselves a little bit, and then in the Big Ten, it's kind of Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and then we'll see from there. But the SEC, you go and look, it's like there's still half the league. It feels like that's got 2 losses or 1 loss. You can eliminate Missouri. Let's take Missouri completely 100% out of the conversation. I think they are the only Missouri out of the SEC and Indiana out of the Big Ten. I think everybody else in the SEC or the Big Ten is probably going to get in with 2 losses, maybe. Except for those 2 because of how weak their schedules are. So, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The SEC is as mushy as it's indecipherable. Who is the best team right now, really, in the SEC? I lean Georgia. You can make the case for A&M. You can make the case that Texas just had a bad night when they played Georgia. Maybe Tennessee's offense is finally going to get it back on the rails. It's kind of wild. I really can't remember a year like this in the SEC.
There's going to be a lot of people in the SEC and around college football that will be pulling hard for South Carolina over A&M.
Yeah, without a doubt, because now it's like everybody's on the bubble. All these teams are on the bubble, and Memphis fans know this well from the basketball side of things. Like, when you're on the bubble, you want everyone else who's on the bubble to lose. And that's the world that the SEC is kind of inhabiting right now. Although I'll say this, like, a lot of my Tennessee friends found themselves conflicted over the weekend because nobody likes Drinkwitz, nobody likes Mizzou, but they're like, man, I don't really want to root for Alabama either. And I'm like, well, you should root for Alabama because you need Alabama to have some strength of schedule. Because if you're a Tennessee fan, the only thing your resume is hanging on right now is that win over Bama. And if Bama ends up 7-5, then it doesn't look that good at all for you. So, yeah, it's interesting trying to parse out some of these scenarios and the bubble conversation. I think this next month is going to be absolutely wild when it comes to the college football discourse and some of the discussions we're going to have about this 12-team playoff.
Are you sold on Texas? Are you as sold on Texas as we kind of all were, when they left Michigan, Ann Arbor?
Not at all. I was there for that game over the weekend, and it looked for a minute there like Texas was going to absolutely run away with that game and just crush Vanderbilt. Quinn Ewers completed 17 passes in a row at one point, threw 3 touchdowns in that span. But then Texas got sloppy. They couldn't really get much going in the run game when they were trying to put Vanderbilt away. They had a bunch of costly penalties. Quinn Ewers had a couple of tip passes get intercepted, and by the end of it, you were like, "Wow, this team does not look like a great national title contender." And that was
the Vandy D line whipped them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest problem right now is Texas's offensive line. That Texas offensive line, which we were all celebrating going into the Georgia game, has really had its holes exposed here in the last couple of weeks. So I mean, to me, I just kind of view Texas the same way as I view most of the other teams in the SEC right now, in terms of like they've got problems. They've shown us what they could do in little bits and pieces. But man, we still got a lot to learn about them over this next month.
Mm-hmm. A big game, massive game this weekend in the top 5. Ohio State on the road against number 3 Penn State. That's 4-3 at Beaver Stadium. What have you thought of both these teams, Ohio State and Penn State? Ohio State, their only loss in that great game against Oregon. Penn State undefeated. What have you thought about both these teams, and what do you expect to see on Saturday?
Yeah, it was kind of wild on Saturday in the press box at Vandy. Everybody was watching the Nebraska-Ohio State game, and then here I was over there on my iPad trying to see if Memphis could beat Charlotte. I was a little bit of an outlier up there, but I did have eyes on Ohio State as well. Dude, that was ugly. That was concerning. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, go and look at Ohio State's resume right now and tell me what's on there that suggests this team deserves to be in the top 5 right now. And they're number 4 in the AP poll, and I want to know why. Why is Ohio State number 4 right now in the AP poll?
The helmet with those Buckeyes on them.
That is 100% the right answer, and it's ridiculous. Their resume is barely top 20 in college football right now. Their best win is a 35-7 home victory over Iowa. That's their best victory right now. I mean, you could say no, the Nebraska win is their best win, but please, that cannot be your best win. As ugly as you look in that game against the Nebraska team that had just got absolutely walloped by Indiana the week before. I mean, I got some real concerns about that Ohio State offensive line right now. They are banged up in a way that might be fatal. I mean, I don't know that they can recover from some of those injuries the way they're looking right now. And it's a good thing Will Howard connected on a couple of those deep balls, and it's a good thing that defense was playing against a freshman quarterback in the second half. Otherwise, the Ohio State playoff talk might be over. What's going to be real irritating is if Ohio State loses to Penn State and then finishes 10-2, and there's not even a conversation about whether or not they deserve to be in. Because I think there should be. Because there's absolutely nothing on that resume. It's almost Missouri-esque in terms of the schedule that they've played. It's a joke of a schedule. And the problem that I have is if they're sitting there at 10-2 on Selection Day, I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye. They're going to say, well, it's Ohio State. We got to put them in at 10-2. But I just don't see it right now with the Buckeyes. They do not look the part of a Big Ten title contender. They don't look the part of a national title contender, certainly. And I have questions about whether or not they're truly a playoff team. And if they want to answer those questions, they need to go to Penn State and not just win, but win that game by 10 points or 14 points or more.
This Saturday, what a way to start November football. This Saturday, number 4 Ohio State visiting number 3 Penn State. Who is it more must win for, Ryan Day or James Franklin?
Ryan Day, without a doubt. I think he should be on the hot seat if he loses this game. I mean, if he misses the playoff, you got to get rid of him. He can't survive that because this was the year, much like it was for Ole Miss, much like it was for Memphis. And let's put Ohio State in that category. They've been disappointing. They are sitting here. Memphis is 7-1. Ohio State is 6-1. Right? But then you look at the way they've played their last 2 games, and you're like, really? Like this was the team that we were hyping up all offseason? Ohio State is they've got problems, and all that ultimately at this point comes back on Ryan Day because he's just not been able to get it done when it's mattered the most, and when there's something at stake, and there's something at stake here for Ohio State now. So Penn State, huge spot. I mean, James Franklin is what he is at this point. It would radically alter my perception of Penn State if they were able to beat Ohio State, because then all of a sudden you're thinking about Penn State as a national title contender, and that's just not a place that we've really quite seen them under James Franklin. So I think if Penn State loses, the perception of Franklin stays mostly the same. But if they beat Ohio State, the perception of Franklin goes up, and the perception of Ryan Day goes down to a place where, I think he's on the hot seat.
There are a lot of teams really not prepared to go to a Citrus Bowl. The idea of Ohio State missing the playoffs and playing somebody from the SEC and playing Ole Miss in the Citrus Bowl, can you imagine that?
It's insane, but I think we need to consider it, because if they lose this week, I really hope that this playoff committee does some blind resume type of stuff, comparing resumes without the logos, without the names, without the conference affiliation, and just they go down and look at the power rankings or the resumes of the other teams that they've played. Because I think if you really are honest with yourself about the type of schedule that Ohio State's played, it's a joke, and it's comical, and they're one of those teams that I think needs to be there. At 11-1, look, if they beat Penn State, I think that's a good enough win to get them in at 10-2. So they could beat Penn State and then lose to Indiana. But if they lose to Penn State and then they beat Indiana, and Indiana also loses to Michigan, there's a world in which Ohio State misses the playoff. And that's what's so interesting right now about college football is you go through these rankings and you look at how the playoff shapes up. And, I mean, really outside of Oregon, I don't know that anybody you would look at right now and say that they're a lock. They're definitely in. There's
David,
no
we
doubt
can't
about
have
it.
these playoffs with Alabama and Ohio State both out. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I know. Ultimately, I don't.
Because remember,
really
this
trust
is a
the
TV
committee.
show too.
Well, some people just call it the ESPN College Football Invitational, which is kind of hilarious, and maybe there's some truth in that.
Might be. Talking to David Cobb, he joins us every single Monday, talk college football and college basketball. David, we're so close to the college basketball season. I get so excited watching these exhibition games. I mean, heck, yesterday I learned that Big Z has a twin brother that's a freshman at Illinois. Mark Adams is wearing Ole Miss gear on the bench. I still want to pull trigger on Duke National Championship, but I'm trying to remain strong, David, thanks to you. But tonight, Memphis has their second exhibition against Alabama. What do you want to see from Penny Hardaway and this team tonight against a really good Alabama team?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. It's a great night of sports. We got Grizzlies on. We got the World Series.
That's right.
Monday Night Football. I mean,
You could be headed to the emergency room at any second.
Exactly right. Yeah. I'm about 3 weeks out from becoming a father.
Wow,
so that's
how about that?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
That baby can be here any day now.
So my phone is never far at this point, for sure.
Keep it charged.
But
That's right.
I don't know how that's going to go, guys. I'm kind of nervous about that. I'm just trying to watch as much sports as I can and just prepare for all mayhem, I guess. Alabama's a little banged up tonight on the basketball side, but they're going to be playing Mark Steers, though. So I am curious to see how Memphis defends Mark Steers, because North Carolina played without R.J. Davis. So you didn't really have to see, all right, what's the approach with defending an All-American type of player for Memphis. Seth Trimble had a big night, obviously, for UNC. But I am curious, just like, who do they start out guarding Mark Steers? What does guarding Mark Steers look like for Memphis? If Memphis wants to get back to the NCAA tournament, they kind of need to reclaim that defensive mindset that was so prevalent and successful for them in the early Penny Hardaway years. So that's an interesting storyline to me. This Alabama offense is going to be high-powered. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. So what does Memphis throw at them defensively to make them uncomfortable?
Has there been a exhibition game win that's knocked your socks off that makes you rethink someone? And last year, David, did anybody lose one of those games and then had a great year? We know Arkansas won it and the year fell apart on them last year. But did in all these exhibition big brand, even the super secret scrimmages, has anybody ever lost one of those that scared you and they then went on to a good year?
I've thought about that recently. I couldn't think of a great example, which is maybe a warning sign for Tennessee, which looked pretty ugly against Indiana yesterday in an exhibition. Their offense looked like the offense that existed there prior to Dalton Knecht, and now we are post Dalton Knecht, and it kind of looks like it did before he got there. I think the Ole Miss win over Illinois sticks out. Now, I got a lot of questions about Illinois. They're one of those teams, kind of like Ole Miss. They're ranked in the preseason, and you're not really sure why. Well, we saw maybe why Ole Miss they looked pretty good in that game. Illinois, they were replacing a ton from last year, and they've got some international players, and you just never know like how good those guys are going to be. So I mean, I wouldn't write Illinois off, but I would say, okay, that makes sense on Ole Miss now. Like we've seen the evidence of what made them a preseason ranked team, and I got a lot of flack from some of my friends down there about ranking. I think I had Ole Miss 11th out of 16 in our SEC preseason prediction, which is honestly that's NCAA tournament bubble territory. I mean, the SEC is going to put 9, 10, maybe 11 teams in the big dance, so it's not. I mean, I don't necessarily think Ole Miss is going to be bad, but man, you know, they go out there and they crush a team like Illinois. It makes you think, hey, these guys might be pretty good.
I visited with Brad Underwood at the hotel yesterday morning early, and he's proud of the Illinois schedule. They play Alabama, Arkansas. No, I'm sorry. They play Arkansas and Alabama and Mizzou and Tennessee from the SEC.
Wow.
He said it feels like he's joining the SEC.
No, that's solid. And then that Big Ten grind, it's always,
and
you know, you start playing Big Ten games in early December now, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to make the Big Ten, guys. That league might end up kind of looking like the SEC looks in football right now, where you're like, who's good, who's going to the championship game, you know, who's going to be there in the postseason tournament, right? Like that's when I was filling out my Big Ten basketball predictions without Zach Edey at Purdue anymore. I'm thinking, this is wild. Like, you know, we varied so much within our staff on who we think is going to win the Big Ten. That league is going to be insane. I think it opens the door too for the SEC to be the best conference in the country. You know, because the Big 12, they lose Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC. They do add in the teams that were in the Pac-12, but Arizona State and Colorado, they're kind of more like dead weight this year, I think, than they are in terms of actually going to be helping the league. So, you know, I think the SEC's got a chance for whatever luster it might be losing on the football side right now. The basketball side might make up for it this year.
Yeah, it absolutely might. Well, a week from now, David, we'll be getting your pick for Baylor and Gonzaga later that night. What, a 10 o'clock tip time for those two teams. So it's right around the corner.
It is. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm going to get about 2 weeks worth of the season, and then I'm going on paternity leave. And then I'll be back, and yeah, hopefully I'll know what's going on, and like hopefully I'll still be alive. Hopefully everybody will still be alive, and like, you know, I'll be a functioning human. But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting few weeks here for me.
Yeah, well,
real.
We can only hope, I guess. Well, David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us, talk some college football and college basketball like we always do. And I got to remind you, this second hour brought to you every single day by Wilson's Pro Wash. Do me a favor, picture your home beautifully clean and pristine. Does that seem impossible? Well, not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins. So give them a call at 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799, or go online to wilsonsprowash.com. Let's get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for our Sissy's Log Cabin look back at the weekend in the SEC.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
For life's spectacular moments, only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's gotten heavier in the last 15-20 minutes on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 as that traffic volume builds headed out towards the Collierville area. No shortage of radar today on I-40 as you leave Shelby County headed into Fayette County. Be careful out there just past 269. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them this week. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time for a look back at the weekend in the SEC. Brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies with 9,000 square foot in Laurelwood. Let's go inside the SEC with Bryant and Brett.
Chad Kelly in the gun formation. 3rd and inches for Ole Miss.
Carlton will kick it. It is on the way, and it is up.
Buck Bellew looking at it, going to pitch it to Herschel Walker, try to get him outside. He's going to get 5.
The snap is high. Kelly grabs it, wants to throw, fires it up in the air. Treadwell can't get it.
It is good! Oh, my!
Get it. Deflection is caught. Deflection is caught. And down the sidelines is Adebojo. He's to the end zone. He's in there. Touchdown, Ole Miss.
He's got 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. He needs a block. There goes Herschel. There goes Herschel.
And you can wrap this one in maroon and white, my friends.
Arkansas is headed to Atlanta.
The national champion is clad in big orange.
Saturday completed September and October play for this year in college football and in the SEC, but it started early on Saturday morning, the famed last Saturday in October.
Yeah.
Not so famed, but we're going to make it famous. Ole Miss wins 26-14. Print the coffee table books. 26-14 over Oklahoma in Oxford, 16-0 Ole Miss in the second half. Ole Miss still not sharp in SEC play. 2-2 wins over South Carolina and Oklahoma. Give me the gold star win of those two.
Oh man, that's
at South Carolina.
Probably, but how gold is that? I mean,
that's two bad teams, in my opinion. Losses to Kentucky and LSU, one bad team, and one giveaway. Jackson Dart, 311 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He has to be perfect for Ole Miss to win, and he was pretty perfect Saturday. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception in SEC play for Jackson Dart. OU outrushed Ole Miss, but 2 turnovers, 7 penalties, really poor quarterback play, cost Oklahoma. This week, Ole Miss at Arkansas, where they have won 2 times since Arkansas has joined the SEC, that being David Cutcliffe winning in 2000 and Houston Nutt in his return game against the Razorbacks in 2008. Oklahoma at home against Maine.
How about that, Maine?
Remember the Maine.
Oh, wow. How about that? We were talking about this game off air before the show started, and I told you that at the Tigers game on Saturday, we were sitting down. I think one drive into the game, they wanted to go scores around the country. I was going, maybe a little early for scores around the country with all these games just getting started. I think I looked down my phone. It was literally like 11:07. And they showed the Ole Miss score up there, 7-0. I was like, wow.
Quick start. That's Ole Miss.
That's quick. And then when I got home from the game and was looking at all the scores from the 11 o'clock, that was a lot closer than I thought it would be. We made our picks. I was all in on Ole Miss covering on Friday. We made our picks. Jackson Arnold, he didn't throw an interception, so I guess that's an improvement from what he had been doing before, but he just has not looked good all season long. Ole Miss really couldn't run the ball in that game against Oklahoma. So, Ole Miss gets the win, and that's great. Oklahoma, not a very good team, though.
Down the road in Starkville, the Razorbacks win 58-25 against Mississippi State, 31-10 at the half. Taylor Green, 5 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. Arkansas freshman Braylon Russell with 175 yards rushing, along of 75. 9 different Razorback receivers or players with receptions, 5 state turnovers, 673 yards total offense for Arkansas. Arkansas now 5-3 and 3-2 in SEC play. State 1-7 and 0-5 this week. Arkansas host Ole Miss, and Mississippi State at home against UMass.
Oh, wow. UMass back in the SEC.
Feels like they joined the league, doesn't
That's
it?
right. We got one of those games at home. How about that? But, if you're Arkansas, this is exactly how you wanted this game to go, because there were a lot of people, me included, that thought Mississippi State would keep this game close.
Upset watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even heard a lot of people at tailgates at the game on Saturday saying the exact same thing. So I think there were a lot of people that thought, hey, Mississippi State's playing better. Maybe they keep this one close, but it was all Arkansas. You mentioned it. Anytime you can get over 670 yards of total offense, it's been a good day in the office, and it certainly was. Taylor Green looked really, really good. Michael Van Buren, little good, little bad, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And how about this? I remember talking to Ty on Friday, and he mentioned it's going to be a lot on the freshman running back, Braylon Russell, 175 yards for him. So definitely a big game.
Oh, number 0.
Yeah, that's right. You got to love a running back that has number 0. So a really, really good game for Arkansas. And they did all of that while going 0 for 7 on third downs, which was really impressive.
Speaking of 0, that's how many Mizzou scored in Tuscaloosa. Bama 34-0 over Missouri. Jamarian Miller, 2 touchdowns for Alabama. The Bama defense with 3 interceptions. Brady Cook really couldn't go. 271 yards total rushing for Alabama. 3 turnovers for Mizzou. Bama now 6-2. Mizzou now 6-2. Luther Burden, 3 yards. 3 yards receiving. That's almost impossible for that to happen. Open date for Bama, open date for Missouri.
Yeah, it's hard to even think that a team with several great receivers, including Luther Burden, could finish a game with only 72 yards. But a lot of that had to do with, Cook tried to go, really couldn't go. Payne comes in. He's not really an SEC quarterback. 3 interceptions for him. He looked lost out there. But definitely a good win for Alabama. And I think, I feel like we've all kind of had questions about Missouri all year long, but certainly after a loss like that, I understand starting quarterback wasn't in, but Missouri just did not look good in any aspect of that game on Saturday.
In Nashville on Saturday, a lot of Texas fans there, but a lot of black and gold for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt on the wrong side of 27-24. Texas, they figure it out and get the win. Quinn Ewers, 3 touchdowns passing, but 2 interceptions. They're not perfect. They're not clicking. No. 288 yards for Quinn Ewers. Vandy outrushed Texas. 3 Vandy turnovers. That they hadn't been doing that. They did it Saturday. It cost them 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. For Diego Pavia, he had to be perfect, and he wasn't. They were 3 for 12 on third down. 10 Texas penalties. Texas now 7-1. Vandy now 5-3. This week, Vandy goes to Auburn, and Texas, they enjoy the open date.
Yeah, how about this game of the weekend in the SEC? This game was electric, and Vanderbilt had the ball, had an opportunity to drive down and get a touchdown. But, it turned it over, couldn't get it done, and Texas wins. I hate that Vanderbilt was number 25 because I do think if they were number 24 in the AP polls, they'd still be in the AP poll this week. They played well in that game, and I think anytime you lose by 3 to Texas, you show that you are a pretty good team. But unfortunately, because they're 25, they dropped 1 spot. They're out of it. Maybe they bounce back in there next week. But Vanderbilt's still been a really impressive year. I talked about it earlier. That number of 3 losses this season for Vanderbilt, combined 10 points in those 3 losses. So it's been a great year for Vanderbilt. On the other side, Texas, like you said, they haven't been perfect. There are definitely a lot of questions for this Texas team if they want to be around at the very end of the season.
Could Texas lose at Fayetteville?
Ooh.
Let Arkansas beat Ole Miss, have the open date, and then the crowd.
Yeah, that's
Razorback Stadium fandom of the year for
that's going
UT.
to be the atmosphere of the year. They definitely could. I mean, you said
Arkansas
Brett.
Season hinges on this Saturday.
It 100% does. But you mentioned it. I mean, I think there are almost more questions about this Texas team than answers right now, and it's hard to say that with all the wins they have. But there have just been some questionable play.
The Texas Aggies win 38-23 over LSU. Everybody was really ready for it to all catch up for BK and Garrett Nussmeier, and it did. And finally, Kyle Field was imposing. Marcel Reed with the change at quarterback came in for Connor Wegman, and he was sensational. 3 touchdowns rushing and a spark. How about Brian Kelly on the sideline? The microphone caught it just full bore, cussing out the deep snapper.
Oh, man.
Now, look, I'm no weeping willow, and I know cussing goes on around college athletics, but I've seen Brian Kelly this year go after the deep snapper, the holder, and Garrett Nussmeier. I never see him really mad at the wide receivers after they drop one.
Yeah, no, it's strange. He's quick to anger. That's for sure.
Let's smack around the deep snapper.
That's right. Yes,
and it was a poor snap.
Sure,
he should have been corrected. But I just wonder with him doing that on the sideline, how it would go over if some other coaches did it to other players. How would it go over at other places?
Probably not very well at all. But no, this was a game of 2 halves, Brett. LSU came out hot. Looked like they were going to run away with that game. I was feeling good. That was one of my picks. An abysmal Saturday picking from me. Just want to throw that out there. It is what it is. You have them every now and then. It happens. I felt good about LSU and felt really good watching them in the first half. Garrett Nussmeier looked good in the first half. He ended up with 405 yards, like you mentioned, 3 interceptions. A lot of that came in that second half, and a lot of it came through the air, only 24 rushing yards for LSU. But at the half, A&M decides, let's pull Wegman. Let's go with the freshman, Marcel Reed. And it worked. He 2 for 2 for 70 yards in the air, but he gave them the spark they needed. He used his legs, 3 rushing touchdowns for him, 62 yards on the ground on only 9 carries. He gave them a spark that they did not have with Connor Wegman, and it played out, and they got a massive win. And I'll tell you this, Brett, something that I found, and I don't know if this is an every Sunday thing or every Saturday thing, following the Texas A&M Police Department on Twitter. Hilarious. They update throughout the game of people that they've arrested. And
I saw where somebody was arrested for possessing cocaine in the stands at A&M.
That's right. Possession of cocaine was one of them. Someone got arrested for starting.
So much for sneaking a half pint in a boot. Go in with blow.
Go in with a little coke. Another person was arrested for starting a physical fight with somebody because he was sitting in their seat. The guy came and said, "Hey, this is my seat." And he said, "No, I'm sitting at it." And the guy said, said, "No, I'm showing you. This is my seat." And he just started a fist fight with him because he was in the wrong seat.
Yeah.
So that is a great Twitter follow. I've learned.
I've never heard of cocaine at college football, but whatever. Auburn goes to Lexington and they win 24-10. Maybe the best win for Hugh Freeze at Auburn. That vaunted UKD line that Ole Miss made look like the fearsome foursome. They allowed Jarquez Hunter to go for 278. UK hadn't won since leaving Oxford. They're now 3-5. Auburn 3-5. 500 yards total offense for Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze.
Yeah. No, this was a fun game for Auburn. It's just been such a down year to win a game like that convincingly in the second half. This was a 10-10 game at halftime. I think, a lot of questions for this Kentucky team, but, Auburn's able to get the win. You mentioned Jarquez Hunter looked fantastic. Just hand him the ball and see what he can do. On the other side, Brock Vandegrift, another bad game for him.
He's been good one time all year.
Good once, and Kentucky decided against Auburn, let's make a change, and they put in the backup.
He was good for 3 hours in Oxford, and that's it. Kentucky this week, they go to Tennessee. Auburn hosts Vandy. That's a look back at the weekend in the SEC, brought to you every Monday at 4:30 by our friends at Sissy's Log Cabin. That great new location at 4542 Poplar in Laurelwood with 9,000 square feet with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. The official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, big sponsors of the Tigers, part of the local community fabric that they are definitely a part of. Since 1970, that's how they do it. With 6 locations across the Mid-South, Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
End the year in style during the Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with 420 total range or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now $349 a month. That's Outlander PHEV or Outlander Sport. Your choice, $349 a month. And get ready to slip into something more comfortable with your 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. Only $31.7 or $499 a month. Plus every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750. Sport RUO 18037, MSRP 28115. Outlander RZO 67690, MSRP 332. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Kevin Harlan here for Monday Night Football in Westwood One, as we've got the Steelers and New York Giants from Pittsburgh. Steeler quarterback Russell Wilson had a winning debut, and the Steelers go to 5-2 off of last week's win. Now they take on the Giants and terrific rookie receiver Malik Neighbors. Join me and 3-time Super Bowl champion Devin McCourty for all the action on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 30 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for differentiated yards vehicle products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese, bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today is 295. I saw this number Saturday night. I believe it came from Drew Hill's Twitter page. Obviously, Drew Hill, the Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian. On Saturday, John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all took the floor together and played for the Memphis Grizzlies. The last time those three took the court together was 295 days from Saturday. It was against the L.A. Lakers, a road win over the L.A. Lakers. And when you look at the box score, their first game all back together, Desmond Bane finished with 13 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. John Morant, 16 points, 10 assists, 2 rebounds, and Jaren Jackson Jr., 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and he led the team with a plus 26 plus minus. So those three guys, definitely it was fun seeing all of them back on the court together, and I thought for the most part all three of them looked really, really good together.
My big number is 116. With Alabama's win, it guarantees Bama's 116th season over 500. Only finish under 500 14 times in that span. Since 1980, only 5 times. 1984, 1997, 2000, 2003, 2006. Mike Shula had 2 of those. Mike Dubose had 2 of those, and Ray Perkins had 1.
Wow.
So Kalen DeBoer is going to finish over 500 in his first year with a very unenviable task.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is, like, a lot of coaches in their first year, you go over 500, it's fantastic. Not at Alabama.
Not replacing that guy.
No, expectations a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, and Bama and Ohio State both 10-2 debates. We talked about it with David Cobb. Those brands, that TV sex appeal,
yeah.
I just can't believe a committee was going to leave them out.
Oh, no, not at all.
Fair or unfair.
At least one of them.
And maybe not fair.
Sure.
For either.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be. And, it kind of goes back to what we were saying, or, what you and David were saying when we were talking with him of, at the end of the day, this is a television show that they're putting on. And what looks better?
Big
Ohio
money on the line.
State on there, or,
Indiana.
Yeah, I mean.
11-1 Indiana.
They're a great team, but, random, Joe Random on the street who's
you want A&M or
wants to
Alabama?
look in the game, yeah, I mean, he's going to say, oh, man.
Now, people can get mad as they want to about that, but those conversations are had.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's right, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
There's a lot I don't think's right.
Sure. So yeah, but hey, how about Indiana with their win over the weekend without Rourke at quarterback? So that was
they
fun
keep
seeing
on.
game day, and Corso gets National Corso Day in Indiana.
Bloomington Man of the Year, wasn't he?
Bloomington, that was fun.
Deserves everything
Absolutely.
he gets. I know the Chevy truck sale that's going on at All-Star. You'll get everything you deserve right there at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Highway 78, first exit when you cross into Mississippi. Take Kraft Goodman Road, and you're at All-Star Chevrolet, with financing as low as 0% now available on all the 24 Silverados. No payment till next year. Your Silverado can be payment-free through Christmas and the new year. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star, where all the new Chevy Silverados and Tahoes are. Incentives at All-Star on a new Equinox can get your price down in the low 30s, even the high 20s. If you're law enforcement, educator, recent grad, military, first responder, healthcare worker, instant $500 bonus back. Come check out the huge, and I mean huge, All-Star pre-owned section. Silverados and Jeeps, Toyota, Nissan, Ford, everything you can imagine they have. Every pre-owned you would want is right there in Olive Branch at All-Star. And if you've got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, and you'll get the most money for it, even if you didn't buy it from them. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, and don't miss the final Chevy truck season sale going on right now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, we need to get to another break and wrap up this hour, and when we come back, we're talking more Grizzlies with Michael Cole.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I Plug Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billigo. Servicing most brands of lawn equipment, Colonial's master service techs will keep you going year-round. Colonial Hardware, family-owned and operated, and serving you for nearly 50 years. Thanks to Bass Pro and Lincoln at Sycamore View, and online at colonialhardwareinc.com.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with a Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's finally starting to pick up over here on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385, which has been in pretty good shape actually on Bill Morris there going outbound as you work your way out towards Riverdale, continuing into Collierville. Traffic's holding up right now. 40 East, we expect that to get a little bit busier in the next few minutes. 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area now for what, over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, go by and see them this week. Shop local, save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Once again, our Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand.
Welcome back to
You
Sports
said
Time.
you
Brian and Brett
loved me, and that's a lie. And then you left me.
Some Grizzlies, and joining us now to talk Grizzlies, DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal. He's on the Grizzlies beat. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. The Grizzlies 3 games down for the season, 2-1. The lone loss coming in a road game against Houston. What have you thought about what the team has shown over these first 3 games?
Yeah, they're right. They're right where I kind of expected them to be, guys, and they're back to being that fun, highlight making, getting out in transition, running, making big plays. I mean, the blocks, the alley-oops, the dunks, that was kind of, part of this team's identity when they won, 50-plus games 2 seasons in a row and became one of the top teams in the West. And then the steals and the blocks are high, right? Just had a game where they had, I think, 10 steals and 5 blocks, so 15 stocks. So that defensive activity, that's all been impressive. The depth has stood out, right? You got a lot of guys out, but the bench, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jay Huff, and Santi Aldama have all really stepped up. On the other side, there have been some concerning things. Zach Edey is a rookie, and he looks like it so far, which isn't bad, but, he has had 2 games where he's been mostly not really an impactful player. So that's kind of going to be a developing story as he gets, more playing time, as he gets more experience with NBA referees, learning how, physical he can be at this level. And then there's the rebounding, which, I think is going to be a big talking point as we get throughout the season. It's going to be a big talking point tonight with Nikola Vucevic in the building.
Yeah, and the negatives that are not plenty, but there certainly are some, DeMichael. I think the positives through 3 games, very short sample size, far outweighs it. Through 3 games, Mr. Grizzly. It's Jay Huff. He's the story, isn't he?
He's the story. I mean, he's this year's Vince Williams right now. He's the guy who wasn't expected to get much playing time, and then injury here and injury there, and he's running with it. When they got him, you didn't want to overthink it, but it was like what he brings is exactly what Memphis needs. He's a very good 3-point shooter. Before he got here, he was a very good 3-point shooter. He's a very good shot blocker. Certain teams will demand you to do, other things and be better at other things. But the Grizzlies have such a need for shooting. And having that 5-man who can stretch the floor, we talk about the way they want to play with pace, that big trailer when Ja Morant is flying, in transition and the defense is collapsing, and you have that option to just throw it behind you with that big trailer, and he's a legitimate threat as a three-point shooter. That is something that they haven't really had, and Jay Huff really is giving them that. So he's been great. I think it's going to be hard to take him off the floor even when other guys are healthy.
And come on, let's all be serious. At any point this year, did we think Jay Huff was going to be the story?
No.
No, I'm telling you, Vince Williams was the same way last year.
That's it. And I said Friday to Bryant, I wouldn't dare use the L word. I wouldn't call anybody a liar. I'd never say those words.
Right.
I just say to people that tell me they can remember Huff at Virginia, I just tell them I don't believe them.
He blended in, right? Like
peas and carrots blend in.
Like at Virginia, he wasn't the guy, and that's kind of an interesting part to all of this. When he was in college, he was on some really good Virginia teams, but again,
nobody remembers him.
Nobody remembers. He was a champion. He was on the championship team.
You're breaking news now.
But he rarely played his first couple years. I think
Jay Huff had one shining moment.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think it was his senior year, which was probably the best year that he had. He averaged 13 points a game, like 7 boards over 2 blocks. And that was kind of his, I guess you could say, breakout year or whatever the case may be. But that was the year they lost in the first round. It's like I think a 4 seed or something like that.
Yeah, and that was weird years at Virginia. It was out in the first round, win it all, COVID.
He was a sophomore on the championship team. Mm-hmm.
So they were out first round his freshman year, champion as a sophomore, COVID, and then out first round again.
Man.
Yep. That's his college career.
Wow.
What a career.
No wonder I can't remember him.
Well, yeah, a lot going on.
But we remember him now, and he's been the spark, and he is not bashful. In the history of the Grizzlies, Rob Fisher and I used to joke, nobody would get the ball in his hands and get it in there faster than Big Maurice Spates. I think Jay Huff can get it up faster.
He can get it up, right? And he's not bashful. I mean, he knows his game, which is very important, especially as a young player. Young player, you come in, you're trying to prove that you belong here and all these type of things. I don't really get that sense from it. Jay Huff knows, hey man, look, I shoot 3-pointers.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw down some dunks. That's pretty much what he's been doing. You don't see him in the post trying to steal guys, throwing his hand in the air, saying, "Hey, throw it to me." You don't see much of that.
Yeah.
So he's playing his game. He's playing to his strengths. And his strengths are exactly what the Grizzlies need. The Grizzlies have a dire need for three-point shooting. This guy is adding it. They have a need for more rim protection. Zach Edey has the potential to do that, but again, the availability hasn't been there for him. We know Jaren's going to give it to you, but having another option, because there were so many times over the last couple years, since Steven Adams has been out, when Jaren Jackson Jr. left the floor, like you had good positional defenders like Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman, good positional defenders. But the threat at the rim from the standpoint of guys thinking, oh, if I go to the rim, I'm going to get a good look at the basket. You might have a guy in front of you who, again, good positional defenders, but no one, the shot blocking threat has not been there. I mean, and Jay Huff is changing that.
Mm-hmm. DeMichael Cole, our guest on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. He's on the beat for the Commercial Appeal covering all things Grizzlies, and he will be courtside tonight when the Grizzlies face the Chicago Bulls in the Bulls' one and only visit to Memphis this year. In all seriousness, DeMichael, I've been serious about Jay Huff. Through 3 games, he's team MVP. Who's second in your opinion? In mine, it's Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, you took it out of my mouth right there. The defensive pressure that he's been playing with, and I was talking to him earlier today, like, he even pointed out the fact that he, coming up even at Vanderbilt and earlier in his career, was not known as a defender by any stretch of the imagination. And this is Scottie Pippen's son we're talking about, like, one of the best wing defenders probably the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah.
And, his son wasn't viewed as a good defender. And since he's been in Memphis, we know how much Taylor Jenkins emphasizes it. You can't defend unless you're just one of the greatest scorers of all time or something. Your minutes will be limited in Memphis as a reserve, at least. So he's really taken that, part of his game to a whole new level. We've seen, I think, 2 or 3 times where he's caused turnovers in the backcourt, before teams could get past half court. In that last game, I think one of the guards on the Magic pushed him while trying to inbound the ball. Like, he's just become this pest. So that's something the Grizzlies haven't had. Tyus Jones wasn't really doing that. Derrick Rose, was not doing that. So that's a whole different type of backup point guard. He's still learning and whatnot, but yeah, I think that was one of the concerns. And now seeing Scottie Pippen Jr. kind of ease the minds with the way that he's playing, the passing, the off-ball cutting for him has been really good. He had 3 open layups just off backdoor cuts in this new offense. So he's a guy who's playing on and off the ball. We see right now, like with other guys being out, he's been the first sub, and he's not coming in for Morant. He's playing alongside of him. So his ability to play on and off the ball gives the Grizzlies this dynamic where they can play multiple point guards at the same time. Ja can go off the ball, get some rest. He can go off the ball, get some rest, however they want to do it. But he's really helped this team out with his versatility.
Talking to Michael Cole, he joins us to talk some Grizzlies. He's the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. I've heard you bring up this word a couple of times now. It feels like anytime you're watching a game, listening to a game, reading content about this team, you see the word pace. That's the big word for the Grizzlies right now. It's a new offense. It's a fast offense. What have you seen through the first 3 regular season games of the season with this team trying to get acclimated with this new offense? And do you think some of these guys are still trying to get acclimated to this new pace?
Yeah, as Josh said, it's going to take some getting used to. It's a process. It's still very early. And here's the thing. I've been talking to not just the Grizzlies about this, but just around the NBA about this whole pace thing, right? Because the Grizzlies aren't the only team that's emphasizing pace right now. Truth be told, a lot of teams are emphasizing pace. And the idea is that right now, yeah, of course, everyone's emphasizing pace, but you want to be the team that later on in the season, when other teams try to slow down because, the bodies are breaking down a little bit, you got a couple more bruises when you wake up, you want to be that team that's still playing faster than the opponent, and that's kind of the goal that the Grizzlies have. The pace has pretty much been a good indicator for how they played through these 3 games. When they've been able to get the pace up, we saw in that first half against Utah, they made 12 first-half threes. They were able to get a bunch of good looks just because they were pushing the ball, and they were, getting defensive stops. In the first half against Houston, it was the same way. In the second half, when Houston started to make shots, the Grizzlies couldn't get out and play with pace. They were stuck in the half-court offense. And then after that game, Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, they pretty much told me we got too isolation-heavy. And that's something that's one of the tendencies that this team is trying to break. And they're going to have to break because when you're not able to get into that pace, you got to rely on your principles, right? The cutting and the constant movement.
Screens.
But there is that tendency to just say, you know what? Like pick and roll, Ja Morant, Zach Edey, or whatever. Like let's get some points. So there's that tendency as well that's got to be broken. But all in all, the pace is just it's been the thing for them. Like in the Orlando game, they were able to get out and play with pace. They won, and that's pretty much going to be the key. When they play with pace, they're probably going to win.
DeMichael, do you think it's a tough fit? Do you think this is kind of round peg, square hole for the Grizzlies to preach pace and play at this, or do you think it has and will come to them rather seamlessly?
It comes easy to them because of the guys who have to push the pace. Like Marcus Smart is a very good passer with advancing the ball ahead. That's his way of pushing pace. Ja Morant is probably the fastest. If he's not the fastest, he's one of the fastest guys in the league with the basketball in his hands. And Desmond Bane is not far behind. Desmond Bane, downhill days, like he can get from point A to point B.
So we got
the blink of an eye too. Yeah, you got some real track stars in a way. Mm-hmm. Like some real basketball track stars are the ones who are pushing this pace, and so it plays into kind of the skill sets of those dudes. But when you play this fast, as we start to see early in the season, you're going to use a lot of players. Like, this is the main reason why the Grizzlies have been 11 deep early on in the season, because when you're playing so fast, guys are still getting their wins under them. Guys, haven't really even. I don't think anyone on the team is averaging 30 minutes right now. So, that's kind of the other part of it.
You mentioned Zach Edey earlier. He looks like a rookie out there. He's mostly struggled through these first 3 games trying to get acclimated to the NBA game. So through these first 3 regular season games, I know we talked with you last time about what he did in the preseason, but what have you seen from him that you like through these first 3 games, and what have you seen that he needs to work on through these first 3 games?
Yeah, I think he's shown at times, the ability to be, an impactful, just like with his screen setting has been really good. What I want to see more is pretty much experience things that'll come in time. But the rebounding for him has been solid, but it has not been, great. Like he had the one game where he had 9 rebounds and had 4 offensive rebounds against Houston. But that was also the game where the Grizzlies got beat up on the glass as a team more than any other game. So I want to see him. He's kind of the linchpin. He's the key to this Grizzlies team being at least an above-average rebounding team this season. I think it would be unfair to say, hey, the Grizzlies got Zach Edey now. Even though Steven Adams is gone, they're still going to be the top rebounding team in the NBA like they were with Steven Adams. That's probably a little bit unfair for a rookie. But I don't think it's unfair for a number 9 overall pick and to say, hey, the Grizzlies should be somewhere in the top 12, top 13 because they have a 7'4" guy who was one of the top rebounders at the collegiate level. So I think that's something that's got to improve for him. And then just a little situational awareness thing. He's got to learn how and when he can be very physical. When he has 1 foul, he's got to learn how to dial it back. In the first quarter, if you have 2 fouls in the second quarter, you got to learn how to dial it back in those situations. You got to learn who's on the floor with you, player tendencies and things like that. A lot of his fouls have just been fouls that could have easily been avoided if he, just picked up on some of those. Yeah, experience.
It's 3 games.
Some of that stuff will be figured out in time. I don't think it's a big deal. And look, there's no big sample size where he's had foul problems. This was not the case at the collegiate level at all. Right. So I think those are kind of the main things that I want to see. And again, Ja Morant missed time in the preseason. He just played his first game, and it was only a few minutes alongside of Jaren Jackson Jr. So certain things like that it's also going to come with more experience and time, just playing alongside of those guys.
Mm-hmm. I'll be completely honest. I was not as on board as a lot of people with the Zach Edey pick, but one thing I said before the draft, when they drafted him, and since then, is that this kid, every step of the way since high school, he's been working hard, he's been getting better, he's improved every step along the way. And one thing that I saw on your social media page, actually over on Twitter, after that loss against the Houston Rockets, right after that game was over, he went directly up to Steven Adams, who a lot of people, when Zach Edey was drafted, compared those two together of what Zach Edey should be for the Grizzlies, what Steven Adams was. They talked for a couple of minutes. What did that tell you about Zach Edey and his willingness to want to learn in the NBA? And do you know at all what the conversation was about between him and Steven Adams?
Yeah, he said he first said the conversation was just some big man stuff, and then he was like, "Look, I want to keep that conversation, a little close to the vest," which I understand. But yeah, like I posted that picture because it was as soon as the game ended. I mean, and he went over there and he talked, like you could tell he was like, "I got to talk to Steven Adams after this game," and not only did he go over there and talk to him, it was so intentional because Steven Adams is a former Grizzlies player, so you got all these other Grizzlies players, John Conchard, Luke Kennard, all these people are walking up to Steven Adams. And usually that's like okay, all right, Steve-O, thanks for the talk. No, Zach Edey's just standing there. All right, wait on those guys to do those greets. Now what were we saying? Now back to the conversation. So he was very intentional about it, and that's kind of been the thing that, a lot of people have said about Zach Edey. Like he soaks up knowledge. He's willing to learn. He wants to learn. That was probably the best example that I've seen of that to date. So, he knows he has a ways to go in terms of experience and learning these things, but he does not give me any type of satisfied type of vibe. Right. Like this is a guy, he is very determined to learn from, Steven Adams and Jonas Valanciunas and Zubac is another one that he said he watches really closely. Like, those type of bigs are ones that he really tries to pattern some of his game at.
DeMichael, tonight against the Bulls, Wednesday night against Brooklyn at home, Thursday night against Milwaukee. All three of those, only time we'll see them all year. Then Saturday in Philadelphia, the only time to go to Philadelphia. This is a good time to go to Philadelphia, too. This week, nobody should ever put an audience through going game by game W's and L's with an 82-game schedule. But I'm going to go 4 games this week. Somewhere in this 4, the Grizzlies should go 3-1, shouldn't they?
That's the number that I have in mind too. 3-1 sounds plausible, but this stretch, I think at the end of this week, one of the things that we'll be talking about is the perimeter defense. Taylor Jenkins has suddenly just started to talk about it a little bit more and said, "Hey, our perimeter defenders have to be better." The Grizzlies have had certain problems in the last in these 3 games with, staying in front of the ball. And against the Bulls, you're going to have Kobe White and Zach LaVine. And then, like you said, after that, you get the Nets, who have Cam Thomas, who's, turning to one of the better young scorers, in the league. Tyrese Maxey, when you play, the Sixers, and, of course, Dame Lillard. His resume speaks for itself. So, really good test for the Grizzlies coming up in terms of, perimeter scores. Being able to stay in front of those guys, that's going to be a big key to the defensive success of this team. But yeah, I'm with you. 3-1. I think this Bulls game, they're clearly, I think they're 6.5-point favorites right now. You got a back-to-back with the Nets and the Bucks. Back-to-backs can be tricky. And then you go on the road against the 76ers. We still don't know if Joel Embiid will be back for that one, or Paul George. So I know those guys are getting closer. So that one could be tricky depending on the availability of those two.
DeMichael, last thing for you real quick. The atmosphere seemed fantastic for that home opener Saturday night, and especially late in the game when fans started chanting for Yuki to get in the game. It sounded great on television. What was that like, just the atmosphere of the game, but then late when the fans start chanting for Yuki and then finally they get their wish and he enters the game?
Yeah, I think one of the players said it was like the playoffs. Like, it sounded like a playoff atmosphere. It may have been Jaren. So he's had his share of playoff appearances. He knows what the playoff sounds like. But, I was talking to somebody this morning about it, guys, and I was saying it didn't surprise me because, I'm very well aware of just the sensation that Yuki Kawamura has become. But what did surprise me is, like, we know, in the Japanese, like in Japan, what this guy means. He is the 4th Japanese-born player to make it to the NBA. When he scores, he's going to be the 4th one to score in the NBA game. And some people in Japan have told me, I couldn't believe this, guys, but I'm going to share it with you. Some people have told me he's bigger than Rui over there.
Oh, wow.
Like, I can't fathom, but that's what some people have told me. And, with that being said, I think when he checked into the Grizzlies game and they were chanting for him and everyone's going, Yuki, Yuki, I was surprised that many people even knew him here. Because he's big. He's so big in Japan, but now you're starting to see, that fandom and that fanfare that he has over there kind of just trickle into the Memphis Grizzlies fan base. And, yeah, he's going to be a big deal all season.
Yeah, no, that was a ton of fun. Well, DeMichael, as always, it's a ton of fun chatting Grizzlies with you. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Monday.
All right, take care, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you, DeMichael.
DeMichael Cole joining us to talk some Grizzlies. And, man, Saturday was a blast, at least watching on television. I'm sure it was great in there in the arena.
I was told today, and this was not heat of the moment, latest being the greatest, best opening night at home in Grizzlies history.
I believe it. It looked like it. It sounded like it on television, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm all for anybody 5'8" taking over the world.
That's right. Why not? It was awesome.
Do we get a jersey?
Honestly, I've been debating. Do I want to go out and get a Yuki or a Jay Huff jersey? One of those you might, especially those Vancouver jerseys. They were wearing.
Fun start to the season.
Very
okay,
fun.
Friday I wanted 2-0 to be undefeated.
Yeah.
This is close enough.
Absolutely,
this is fun.
Yes.
Exhilarating start.
Yes, I think when you start off 2-1, you feel really,
certainly
really good.
not limping into the year.
No, absolutely not. It feels like a ton of energy there. Hopefully, a lot of energy there tonight here in a couple hours when they take on the Bulls. Well, before we get to a break, let me remind you about our great 5 o'clock sponsor. That's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team's ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, or the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. And it's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. And take a look at the 2025 Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. And don't forget about the 2025 Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call at 877-259-6169 or go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for our Monday Night Football pick and preview, and we'll get to our best 4 defensive players combined for both the Steelers and the Giants. We'll do all of that next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set, and it's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa set will not go on forever. Family Leisure, Witten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
The best I-dos start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, and working with a couple of accidents out here. It's loading up pretty good over here now with volume on 40 East at Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway into Fayette County. It's also increasing with that traffic through the Midtown area, 240 South at South Parkway. Watching it build 40 West at Danny Thomas as that traffic picks up across the Hernando de Soto Bridge back over into West Memphis. Weiber's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell. Welcome aboard. ABC's Monday Night Football.
I know we're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game, and I guess this is relevant to Monday Night Football. Giants and Steelers, 7 o'clock tonight. You can listen to it right here, 7:15 first kick. We'll have coverage of it right here on Sports 56 starting at 7, right after a Rebel Yell. But we have a television in there for anybody who isn't aware. And it's on ESPN right now, and they're doing, they're getting ready to start the pregame show. And they just showed a bunch of clips from the stadium. Again, this is the Giants and the Steelers playing, and there was somebody in the crowd wearing and flaunting, showing everybody his Eagles shirt that said F Dallas.
There's one in every crowd.
How are we catching strays at the Steelers and Giants game from an Eagles fan?
Because you're America's team.
Jeez.
Unlike our 49ers.
Unlike our 49ers.
And my Lions.
And don't forget about the world of fantasy.
That's probably where they came from too. So
I don't know. That seemed pretty.
that seemed more personal than
It sure did.
Monday Night Football, Steelers and Giants. They've played a lot because they were old NFL teams. I know for most everybody's existence, Pittsburgh's been in the AFC, but for a long time, they were playing against each other as members of the National Football League. Tonight, two teams going in opposite directions this year and in the future. It doesn't look like any way out for the Giants.
No, it doesn't. It's tough, and I was thinking about this earlier. I really don't think Daboll was really big on the idea of bringing back Daniel Jones. Watching the Hard Knocks in the offseason.
How could anybody be big on it?
Well, Joe Shane was. I mean, it was his decision, the GM, and has not paid off. And, even around draft time, it was the conversation, at least on Hard Knocks. I understand that's television. It's played up a little bit. But even the conversation of, there's some good quarterbacks in this draft. Nope, we're sticking with our guy. Daniel Jones is our guy. And I don't understand. Even
30th ranked offense.
Oh, that's crazy. When Bo Marchant, who we'll talk to tomorrow afternoon, is big on you, and then before we're even halfway into the season, he says, don't ever let me tell you
he's out.
That Daniel Jones is a good quarterback again, something's wrong. And it does not look good with New York right now.
202nd regular season game for Cameron Hayward tonight for the most ever by a Steelers defender.
Wow, that's incredible.
Second thing I've learned from you, Brett, because I had no idea they played in the NFC. I am in amazement.
NFL, just the NFL.
Oh, just the okay.
Never in the NFC.
Oh, okay. I thought you said NFC. My apologies. NFL. I was like, wow.
No. Steelers and Browns kind of took one for the league and went AFC after the NFL-AFL merger.
Interesting.
And it was to great outrage. Who was it that was controversial that was asked to do it? Maybe the Bears, and said never.
Really?
Never.
Wow. All right.
So somebody they went to one of the old guard teams. You got to remember the condition the Steelers were in at that time. It's not like now. They were everybody's gimme most of the 60s.
Wow.
America's team, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
For lack of better words.
That record, that 202, will break Donnie Shell's record. Great defensive back. Cameron Hayward, anybody got him on their list?
No, I don't.
I do not.
I do not.
This list, this is the toughest one ever.
Brett, cruel and unusual for you to even bring this up. This is difficult.
Thought of it yesterday morning, driving home from Oxford. I said, what big four we gonna pick? We went each team quarterbacks. We kind of know those names.
That's easy.
But we got to get a pick first. I'll start. I'm going to take the Steelers and lay the 5.5. Connor does the same. I got his pick. Big Bro, what are you taking?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers as well. I just don't trust this Giants team. And, the Steelers have been playing well. And now you got Russell Wilson, his second game now as the starting quarterback for the Steelers. I think they get it done. I'll take Pittsburgh.
Group lock, Darian?
Is the game in the in Pittsburgh?
Sure is.
It is in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Daniel Jones to cover.
Whoa.
Pittsburgh to win, but Daniel Jones to cover. Absolutely.
Darian, probably smart to avoid the group lock.
We have not been
good with group locks. So that's probably smart on you.
We were close to a group lock for the NFL shock with everybody taking Arizona. I got there. Bryant got there. Darian got there, all with Arizona straight up.
So we all chose the same shot?
Yeah, how about that?
Connor takes Cleveland, and he gets there straight up.
You can't spell Jameis Winston
Look
without
at that.
wins. It's incredible.
You know what you used to say?
What's that?
How do you spell fun?
F-U-N.
W-I-N.
W-I-N.
That was a good line from him. So big four for defensive players and combining both teams. This could have been the big 24.
Very easily.
Could have been the big gold jacket
Donnie
24.
Shell could have been on this list.
Man.
I asked about Justin Tuck and OCU Manure.
Yeah.
Just slightly out.
Carl Banks. Anybody have
great names?
No, sir.
No, I don't.
Then you get to Pittsburgh, and I've got a feeling this is going to be generational. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm always in the middle, Brett. That's what you forget.
Yeah.
I'm slab in the middle.
You are.
I got a little bit of both on there. I promise you.
Yeah.
Does everybody start with LT at 1?
Oh, absolutely.
I only have him as my 6th greatest NFL player ever.
Is that right?
Yeah. Here I have Tom Brady 1, Jerry Rice 2.
Have it pulled up in front of you.
Jim Brown 3 in written form.
Yeah, that's correct.
Barry Sanders 4, Deion Sanders 5, LT 6. He was so dominant.
Wow. Yes. Not to confuse anybody that you might have this on a computer, hard drive, or no. It is on pen and
Not
paper.
on notes, not on anything, but on a.
That's right.
So Lawrence Taylor 1 for me, Mean Joe Green 2, Jack Lambert 3, Jack Ham 4.
Wow. Okay.
3 Steelers, 1 Giant. No Michael Strahan. No Troy Polamalu. No Watt. No. Who else? From Rod Woodson.
Yeah.
Rod Woodson.
You're creeping up my alley.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Darren.
All right. Of course, Lawrence Taylor 1. I actually have Michael Strahan number 2. Number 3, Rod Woodson, and number 4, Troy Polamalu with Jack Lambert. Jack Lambert was right outside.
Well, OLI. I love it.
Now, one thing that I would defend Jack Lambert against Troy Polamalu for is the championships.
Mm-hmm.
But the 70s Steelers, we always talk champions.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
For me, we've got Justin Tuck as an OLI, so just right outside.
Just such a great player. He was as key to those Super Bowl wins as Eli.
Yes, he and OC. He and OC.
That's right.
And OCU manure. No doubt. Eli Manning would tell you that.
No, I have 100%. Number 4 for me, Michael Strahan, just an unbelievable player for that Giants defense. You got to get him in there at number 4. Number 3 for me, and hard to believe that he only shows up at number 3, Troy Polamalu. I mean, one of my favorite defensive players to watch growing up. You got to have Polamalu on this list. Number 2, Joe Green, and then number 1 for me, it's got to be Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, and Lawrence Taylor, he's on every list we come up with, it seems like.
And pardon me for saying, aside from Lil Penny, I love little Troy Polamalu in those little hair commercials. Tiny Troy. That's what we call him. We got Lil Penny and we got Tiny Troy.
You know, left
in the hair.
Left out for the Steelers, Andy Russell, left out L.C. Greenwood.
Brett, we could have spent this whole 3-hour show.
Kevin Green.
That's a good one. I
mean, he's in the Hall of Fame.
We could be here all night. Well, that's what it's exactly what Darren said. I mean, we could have done, gold jackets.
Yeah, this could have been the gold jacket section.
I mean,
that's the toughest one we've ever had. Of all these Monday Big Fours, of any topics.
I feel like maybe I should stop because I feel like this is all my fault. I feel like every week we come in and I go, man, Brett, this was tough. This is the toughest one we've done. And then I feel like you want to go and outdo yourself. And all right, you thought that was tough. How about this? Defensive players for the Giants.
I wanted to get away from quarterbacks because that would have been Bradshaw, Big Ben, Eli, Phil Simms. I mean, we know that conversation.
Yeah, that we would have all had the same list.
And this also could have been an all nickname deal. So the easiest nickname for me is Mean Joe Green.
Yeah.
But the best nickname is Dracula and Cleats from Jack Lambert.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Was it Kent State with Nick Saban?
Wow.
You talking about an all tough guy team.
Wow.
Who would you mess with? Nobody. I'd run.
Yeah, I'd stay away.
Jack Lambert and Nick Saban at Kent State together.
Thank you.
I think for a year, I think Saban was leaving as Lambert was arriving.
That's awesome.
Next Monday, Buccaneers Chiefs. I don't know if I can top that. This list.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be tough.
Some good defensive players there, though.
Yeah.
We might do defense next year.
Yeah, because, I mean, just spitballing. You got, Larry Johnson on one side. Then you have Derrick Brooks, Simeon Sapp, the twin, the twin.
Derek Thomas.
From New York, Tiki.
Oh, yeah.
No, is it Tiki or Rondé? Rondé. Tiki's in New York. Yeah, Tiki's in New York.
Yeah.
That's next week. Tonight, Steelers and Giants, we have all the action. We almost a group lock. Darian takes the Giants. Darian was 4-2. Connor was 5-1 this weekend in NFL.
How about that? Good picking for him.
3-3 for me, 3-3 for Bryant.
Yeah, I think
we all got backdoored out of Green Bay. Like Jacksonville should not have covered that. They should have. Green Bay should have scored that touchdown. But
oh man,
you had that as your lock.
I was so mad. I was texting my buddies just fuming that they kicked that field goal.
Darian's picks have been so good.
Oh, they've been great.
Your misses are near misses.
Yeah.
I like a half a point.
Please tell me you're killing the app.
And I was just telling Grayson this. For whatever reason, I have not laid yen on said picks that we pick. They're all random. They're almost in the moment type of picks. I told him start next week. I'm gonna start betting on myself.
As you should.
I'm gonna start betting
you're
on
sending
myself.
them to me on Thursday night. Because you can't be here on Friday. You're not even doing it, during the segment.
Yeah.
Good picking. College on Saturday. Darren was 4-3. Connor was 4-3. I was 4-3. Brian talked about.
I don't want to
the
hear
tough weekend.
It was tough.
You went 4-3 though, right?
You're still 2-5. You're still 36-19 for the year.
That's pretty good
in college.
It's pretty good. Hey, bad weekends come. They come in waves.
They come and go.
You just got to avoid multiple bad weekends.
Darian's winning NFL. You're winning college.
Love that.
It's because I got off of James Madison.
Darren's winning overall.
Just keep going back to the bank.
I should have just went back to the bank.
How many players did Signetti take from James Madison to IU with him?
That's a really good question.
How good would JMU been if he hadn't taken all the players?
Great question.
Approximately 15. I've heard that number before. I think it's somewhere in between 15 to 20. I thought it was 15 to 20.
Huh.
When you play 11 aside, 15.
15's a lot.
I don't know if it's all from one
Yeah,
side.
it could have been some reserves too. Both sides, some reserves.
But they would have helped at JMU.
Absolutely would have. Yeah, that's like Troy, when we were talking about them earlier this year before they were playing the Tigers, and it was like everybody left. Either they went to Tulane or they, went somewhere else. And Troy just, so that's what happens when you lose a coach.
So take you behind the curtain a little bit.
Okay.
My college football shock that I pick when we do picks on Friday is always my I ain't scared pick I do with Jocks on Thursday. It did not go over well, me taking Auburn plus 2.5 and predicting the straight up, and got there with it.
Got it. Wow.
My good buddy Hugh Freeze.
Oh, good buddy. Yeah.
Coming through for me.
Coming through for you.
That's what the motivation was.
Yeah, he, after the game, a fist pump.
For his good old buddy
I got
Brett.
there for Brett.
Yeah.
You made Birmingham was so happy and proud of you.
That's right, yes.
They're not having fun this fall.
No, they're not. But hey, maybe, I don't know. Bright skies ahead, maybe.
Maybe.
That'll do it for our Monday Night Football
Cry me a river, Bam.
pick and preview. Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
The holidays are almost here again, and whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's, I've sold homes on all of them and even more. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and find that many people do move during this time of year. Being involved with a major relocation network, we see a lot of people moving into the Memphis area as the holiday season doesn't stop them, nor does it stop people who are just now beginning to start their home search. A couple of things you should remember. Waiting until spring when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs, which means more competition. Before you list your home with someone, you should always talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and just make sure that I am one of them. Find out why they say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon. And yes, I may be the worst golfer in town, but I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that gets it done. Call or email me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, what I learned, actually I learned 3 things today. I'm going to try to go through them quick. Well, I learned a lot of things, but 3 that I want to mention right now. The first thing is that Jay Huff, how about that? He has a standard 4-year contract.
Mr. Wonderful, Jay Huff.
I mean, who would have thought that was coming out? That was shocking, that news coming out.
Who would have thought
today.
that a week ago?
Oh, no chance. No chance at all. And even, I think even this morning, if you had asked people, because you have 50 games to play around with. I don't think anybody saw it coming this fast, but Grizzlies wanted to go ahead and get it done with, have no question
in the front
about
office
it.
we trust.
Absolutely. And so another guy on a 2-way getting called up and getting a full contract with the Grizzlies. It is fun to see. The second thing I learned today, 49ers Christian McCaffrey is expected to practice next week and play versus the Buccaneers. So it looks like maybe getting closer to being a lot healthier for that 49ers team. And the last thing I learned today, and Brett, we talked about the ratings for the World Series, how good they've been. How about this? World Series Game 2 averaged 15.9 million viewers in Japan. So everybody out for Shohei Ohtani in Japan.
Is he going to be in your big 4 Dodgers?
He might be. And also the pitcher pitched Game 2. Yamamoto. He was fantastic in that game. So a lot of Japanese flair for Game 2, and Japan was loving it. Yeah.
Way to go. I learned today that the Chargers and Saints they were about to finish 19-8, and that would have been just the third 19-8 score in NFL history. But in back-to-back years, that would have been accomplished of those 3 times. But then the Chargers tack one on. It finishes 26-8 for just the second 26-8 ever, and first since 1978.
Wow, that's incredible. What I could have done without, and I have been waiting to bring this up all day long. Tyreek Stevenson, the defensive back for the Chicago Bears. The Bears are winning the game. All they got to do is defend
Knock it down.
Hail Mary, and defensive back Tyreek Stevenson is over. I've watched the replay so many times. He started at like the 40-yard line and starts
play
turning
before.
around. Yeah, it was the play before. And then that final play, he turns around at about the 35-yard line and just starts walking towards the end zone, chirping at Commander fans, and then turns around, plays happening, and how about this? The guy he was supposed to be covering was the guy that it was tipped in the air to, and he's just alone in the end zone. He catches it. Commanders win. A really fun game.
Still a lucky play.
100% a lucky play. But that is not a good look for Tyreek Stevenson. He said today he apologized for his lack of focus while taunting the Commanders crowd.
Did you catch Tony Romo before the play suggesting that Marcus Mariota should go in and throw the ball?
You mentioned this to me. I did not see. I was driving, so I had a buddy text me. I'm driving in the car.
Romo did.
I have a buddy text me. I can't believe the Commanders just won that game. I was going, what happened? So I finally get to where I was going. I saw the play, but no, I did not hear that. What a wild thing to say.
I could have done without Nebraska. They had Ohio State.
Yeah, they did.
And that would have what that would have started and kicked off. But also this, so many, so ready, me included, to write off these SEC teams with 2 losses. How ready would the national commentariat been to write off the Ohio State University with 2 losses? They dodged it. We don't have to have that conversation for now. But this week, in-state college against Penn State, it's past time for James Franklin to win this kind of game.
Yeah, and we'll see. And we'll see if Drew Aller can play. He left Penn State's game over the weekend with an injury, so we'll keep an eye on him. Where are you beaming tonight?
The Bronx, Walker Buehler versus Clark Schmidt. Yeah, that's Vandy versus South Carolina in Game 3 of the World Series tonight. Aaron Judge, 1 for 9, 6 strikeouts. The great ratings on Fox on Friday and Saturday. We'll see how tonight does against the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Beam me tonight. How about let's just beam to exhibition basketball for college. The Tigers going tonight against Alabama. That tips off here in about an hour at 7 o'clock. We'll see a little more offense, a little more defense, what this team will look like, because a week from today, they'll be tipping it off against Missouri. It also sounds like Musa Cisse will play tonight, and everything you hear about Musa Cisse since he's joined the team is that he's gonna be a big-time factor for this team. So we'll see tonight a big challenge, a big opportunity for this Tiger team. And how about this? Later tonight at 8 o'clock, New Mexico State in an exhibition game against Western New Mexico. You know who plays for New Mexico State? Our old buddy Carl Sharonfine.
Of course I knew that.
So we got to watch Carl Sharonfine. I don't blame you for not knowing that.
Still holding on 2 field goals last year for the Tigers?
Correct. I believe that's right. Was it 2 field goals? I think that's right.
I think 2 field goals.
So. Yeah. We'll see what he can do tonight, if he can surpass that in his exhibition.
Tigers against Final Four, Alabama tonight in Huntsville. Russell Wilson for the Steelers against Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
Giants lead all-time 44-31-3. Last played in COVID during COVID in 2020. Grizzlies and Bulls downtown at FedEx Forum.
Yeah, it's a really good night. I mean, we've talked about it's a sports equinox tonight. So no matter what kind of fan you are, you got a little bit of everything tonight. Try to keep an eye on all of it if you can, but it's going to be a great night. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
I'm telling you right now, Mid-South, if you're looking for a new ride, give Bobby J a call today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. He's the man with the plan. 41 MPG, Bobby's got it in new 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $233.86 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2025 Kia Sportage, $269 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And get holiday ready in 2024 Kia Telluride S. $408.62 a month, $39.99 due at signing, all 24-month lease. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE834, $938, MSRP $22,615. Telluride RG56 $3,000, MSRP $40,805. Sportage S73 $40278, MSRP $29,135. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join us this week when the 5-2 Steelers host the New York Giants. Should be an exciting one. Pittsburgh with a new look offense thanks to Russell Wilson now under center, and the defense will get its first look at Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors. Kevin Harlan and 3-time Super Bowl champ Devin McCourty will have the call on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect? Please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10.